guys, welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Friday. Thanks for being with us. Indiana news, politics, and government. You're not going to get anywhere else. Coming up here in just a little bit, it's the group that everybody in Indiana politics and government is talking about. Save Heritage Indiana. Who are they? What do they want? Are they a bunch of Nazis and KKK members like some people claim? We're going to get the bottom of everything. Daniel Poynter, the executive director for Save Heritage Indiana, will be with us coming up in just a little bit. No questions off limits. We're going to talk about the event. We're going to talk about what they want to see happen with immigration. We're going to talk about these names they've been called, the things they've been called, all the stuff, because that's how we do it here. We get to the bottom of what's going on. So Daniel Poynter, big interview coming up here just a little bit. The group that everybody's talking about, Save Heritage Indiana, right here on the Rob Kendall Show. Before we get to all that, though, yesterday, if at first you don't succeed, try again. I think Braun's on his fifth try to remake the IURC. This is his fifth shot. He appointed his fifth member to the IURC. Look, at some point, right, it's like dating. At some point, it's not them, it's you. At some point, you got to say, you just stink at hiring people. It's like how this guy made all this money into business world, I don't know. Because he's awful at hiring people in government. I mean, Jennifer Ruth Green, Abernathy, Krupp, Andy Zay, all of these people that have just completely flamed out. And it's like, what are we doing? I thought you were the business guy, Braun. You knew how the real world works. Do you hire people in your business like you do in state government? Look, I got no sympathy for Andy Zay when you were in the Senate for 10 years and your career accomplishment was unsuccessfully trying to get the state tenderloin, the tenderloin named the state sandwich. But I kind of feel bad for Andy Zay getting thrown off the IURC. You can't hire a guy who is a career institutionalist, for a decade has been a part of the system, operating inside of the system, which is why you picked him, and then expect he's going to do something that's rogue outside of the system. That's not Andy Zay's fault. That's a you problem, Braun. The same way when you hired Jennifer Ruth Green to be a cabinet-level position. She's an idiot. She's a loser. And what happened? Wasn't it the largest ethics fine in state history that she had to write? Braun keeps doing this stuff, and it's never his fault. So that brings us to who he picked yesterday, his fifth appointment to the IURC, which he's still not happy with the IURC. And that was friend of our show, friend of the old radio show, friend of this program, Josh Bain, Indianapolis City County Councilor. Now, Bain was the guy that a lot of people from the beginning wanted with the first round of appointments that Braun made. Indiana Capital Chronicle with the big article on this yesterday. Speaking of Indiana Capital Chronicle, Nikki Kelly will be with us later today. We're going to talk about this Andy Zay drama. We're going to talk about the gas tax stuff. Capital Chronicle has a huge 3-part expose on the Medicaid system in Indiana, which is fascinating. We're going to get to all that in a little bit. So Bain has been a Indianapolis City County Councilor, he's a Republican, since 2020, representing the southwest portion, I think, of the city is where he's at. And he has also worked with the Indiana Department of Environmental Management since February. He was previously with the Center for Energy Education. He worked in the House, so he's a known quantity. He was a legislative assistant in the Indiana House of Representatives. He's very political. He was a field manager for the House Republican campaign committees, their reelection efforts. So he checks a lot of the boxes. He's an elected guy, so he's in the system. He was a good, whatever you want to call it, as a legislative assistant, campaign committee. They know he's kind of establishment-y. So you can say that. He has some experience in the field that is applicable. But the reality of this is, and Jim Merritt said this on Statehouse Happenings this week, which you all can go back and watch if you want to. It's in the videos tab of our YouTube page on demand. It's already dropped down into your feed there of all of our other on the Apple, Spotify, iHeart. Jim Merritt said a bunch of these rate cases are going to end up in court now because the utilities have rights and expectations based on state statute. That's not done by the IURC. That's done by the governor and the General Assembly. Braun wants to make you believe that this IURC could just do whatever the hell they want to do, and the utilities would be like, oh, okay, great. That's not how this works. Braun is abdicating, the General Assembly are abdicating their authority. It's exactly what the General Assembly is doing with allowing Braun to do this executive order on gas tax. The fix lies in the codes and the statutes and the rules and the regulations, which are set forth by the General Assembly. Braun can appoint whoever he wants, and they can do whatever they want. The utility companies don't have to take it laying down, and they're not going to. They're not just going to give up money. You're talking tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in some cases. They're not just going to accept that we don't get that money now. Braun said, quote, I have been clear that affordability is my top priority for Hoosiers. As families and businesses continue to feel the pressure of rising costs, it's essential that we have leaders who will be ratepayer conscious. The problem, again, is just last year, Braun signed a bill, the SMR bill, the nuclear bill, that will guarantee for many users their utility rates skyrocket over time as the utility companies are able to recoup 80% of their research and development into nuclear, whether it works or not. This is why I've never gone along with Braun saying affordability is my top priority. If it was, you wouldn't have signed a bill that guarantees people's rates are going to go up. Again, actions, not words. With guys like Braun, you always got to look at the actions. The voting history, the legislative, the things you sign, not the words. And the action is utility bills will go up. Quote, Joshua Bain brings experience in energy policy, environmental stewardship, and collaboration across government and local communities. I am confident he will serve with integrity and keep affordability and the public interest at the forefront of every decision. We like Bain. Nice guy. Been on our show many, many times. If you think he's going to be the end-all be-all on this, you're dreaming. Not because of anything with him, but because of the system itself. You cannot have a system in place in which the governing body that you're appointing people to is largely forced to be adherent to codes, to rules, to regulations that are set forth by somebody else, then get mad when those people can't deliver. Look, Braun, this is the thing. Braun, and the same thing with the gas tax. Braun doesn't care about the end result. He cares about how he looks. If you actually wanted to fix the issue with the gas tax, call the special session, tell the General Assembly, you're going to vote on this indefinitely so that I don't have to do this every 30 days. I don't have to come up with some ridiculous excuse about wildfires in Canada or the war in Ukraine, which has been going on for 4.5 years. Braun doesn't want to do that. He cares about how he looks. And he believes he'll look good because most people will just ignore the fact that he's totally violating the law by just making things up. And it proves to me, which was another thing I've said for years, we've learned nothing from COVID. Nothing's going to change. Braun is doing the same thing Holcomb did during COVID. He's pulling it out of his butt cheeks. He's just making it up. In this case, he's making it up knowing it's going to probably be very unlikely that someone's going to sue him. But in the case of COVID, it was out of fear. People want, in this case, their pocketbooks to have more money in them. They want to pay less for gas, so who's going to sue him? So we'll go along with it. In the case of COVID, well, we fear the virus. We fear the unknown. Well, Holcomb may be wrong, but he's trying to keep us safe. Oh, okay. So the government just gets to do whatever they want when we like or accept the end result, or the majority of the people like or accept the end result. What Braun is doing and getting away with the gas tax is proof we learned nothing from COVID. Nothing. Nothing's changed. Not a damn thing. Republicans are going right along with a clearly An executive order is clearly against the law. It's clearly against the law, and they know it. But they know nobody's going to sue them. Who's going to sue and say, and we'll get into this Nikki Kelly later about standing. Because one of the things we found during COVID is you have to have standing. I looked at suing the governor during COVID. Now, I actually had multiple attorneys that I had serious conversations with to try to get those executive orders struck down. You know what they told me? You don't have standing. You keep getting to go to work. You can't say that you've been harmed because your job is still allows you to go to work, you're still getting paid. And it would be the same thing here with the gas tax. It's going to take, and he knows this, and we'll get into this with Nikki Kelly later, and Braun knows this, the Democrats will have to sue him. The only people really who have standing to sue, because the local governments could sue him, but as long as they keep getting their money, which he's pledged to do, they don't really have standing either because they're not harmed. Or the General Assembly because of the violation of separation of powers. And that's what Braun is daring the Democrats to do. Sue me so the gas taxes or the gas prices go back up. Making it up as he goes along, not dealing with the actual issue. Same thing here. Same thing with the IURC. Look, Josh Bain's a nice guy. I like him. It's not an indictment of him. It's an indictment of the system. And until you fix the system, nothing is going to have meaningful permanent change. So what's going to happen now? This is my educated guess. Could be wrong. We'll see. You guys know I'm pretty good at this stuff. They're going to put Bain on there. Now, what's interesting is the vote was 3-1 for the AES approval. Okay, Swinger, that's his actual name, not a description, Anthony Swinger, who is now the chairman of the IURC, he can't vote on AES because he worked for the consumer counselor and worked on the AES case, so he's out. So Bain's going to do what he's told. He's going to vote against, and then you're going to have 2-2. So then what happens? I don't know. They've already approved it. I would assume if you've already approved it, whatever happens stays. Well, never mind. Because one of the other guys who voted to approve it, quit. So no. They will probably be able to get it passed. It will probably be 3-1. Okay, right. Yeah, that's right. Because of Braun's fight, it's hard. Braun's appointed so many people now, it's hard to keep track of all these guys. Because he never could seem to get it right. So that's right. They'll get it 3-1 now. Then AES will say, we already had our agreement. We already signed off on it. We're going to sue you. And they're going to have a bunch of high-priced attorneys that know the law better than I do. They're going to sue them. And then we'll see what a judge says. Then Jim Merritt, he was the head of the utility committee for years. Nobody knows this stuff better than him. That's what he said on Statehouse Happenings. It's Friday, guys. Maybe this weekend you're going to be planning a move, thinking about a move, planning to move up, move out, downsize, upsize, whatever it might be. If you're thinking about going somewhere different, Anthony Gary, our guy, Indy Dwell Real Estate. He doesn't just list homes for sale. He gets them noticed, he gets them shown, he gets them sold without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony has traded with some of the top negotiators on earth and is ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put Anthony Gary's expert selling strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, 317-756-1159, 317-756-1159. Anthony, I think, will be with us next week. We're going to do, by request, we're going to find out how much these large corporations buying up these rental properties are actually affecting price. And should communities put caps on the amount large corporations can buy in any community to keep them, they would keep rental homes. It's going to be a fun conversation. I think he's going to be with us next week. Couple of housekeeping items, then we're going to get to the audio. Tons of fascinating audio today. Number one, like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. First of all, if you're watching us live on YouTube, on demand on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. Really helps us grow the program. If you're on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, give us that 5-star review. Those things really help us grow our program, help us get noticed. Number two, share the feed out. You got a Facebook, you got a Twitter, Let people know about the Rob Kendall Show. Our growth is organic here on this program. And last but certainly not least, whatever platforms, plural, you listen to us on, subscribe to those. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. I want to say a special thank you to our friend Jonathan. He provided a super generous support. He said, we have a website, guys, robkendallshow.com. And there you'll find the live link, all of our on-demand platforms, articles of our favorite segments each day. We turn them into articles, and the support button. If you like what we do, if you want to be a part of helping us keep this rolling, the support button over at robkendallshow.com is the way you can do that. $1, $10, whatever it is. Jonathan, he was super generous yesterday. So we want to say thank you to him hitting the support button over at robkendallshow.com. And what an incredible deal right now. So when you hit the support button at robkendallshow.com, I send you an email. Say great things about you. That's how it works. You give us money, we say great things about you. Say hey, thanks for supporting the show. We appreciate you, all the stuff. Our guy, John McKinney at Black Sheep Plumbing, because he loves the Rob Kendall Show, has an incredible deal right now. For the month of August, when you hit the support button over at robkendallshow.com, whatever amount you give, he's going to double it in a credit if you need plumbing services from Black Sheep Plumbing. So if you give $50, and you show him that email, you toilet, drain, water heater, water softener, whatever it might be, whatever service you need, when you show him that email and the amount you gave, up to $100, he's going to double it in terms of a credit. So a great month, August, to give over at robkendallshow.com, and we want to thank everybody who has done that. All right, audio. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. This is an update on a wild story we touched on yesterday. So James Fishback, that's his actual name, Fishback, is running to be the Republican nominee for the governor of Florida. And he is running against Congressman Byron Donalds. And Fishback, and I told you, I kind of like Fishback. He's a massive troll. Our politics is not serious anymore. These people treat us like a joke. Let's treat them like clowns in return. Let's just have the fun. Let's have the game. So Fishback came out, I think this was on Tuesday, and said he had huge dirt on Byron Donalds, Congressman Byron Donalds, his primary opponent. And that if Donalds, he said, Donalds knows what it is. And if Donalds doesn't come clean, I'm revealing it to the public on Thursday. So yesterday, he followed through. He held a media event in which he claimed, according to his Twitter, Byron Donalds and Corey Mills is also a congressman from Florida, along with Byron Donalds, are under investigation for federal sex trafficking. The dates that prosecutors are focused on are May 17, 2024 and November 19, 2024 at the MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland, which my campaign has confirmed with the whistleblower, text messages from Corey Mills, and photographs of the two men there. That's a pretty salacious allegation with very specific dates and locations. He's like, the guy's a bum. He's like, no. He's involved in human sex trafficking, and here's the dates law enforcement's looking into. Here is the announcement yesterday from James Fishback.
On July 21st, 2026, NBC News reported that Republican Florida Congressman Corey Mills was under criminal investigation by the Department of Justice. Like virtually every federal investigation, this one began with a single suspect and quickly spread to include others. This government whistleblower who approached my campaign has confirmed that this investigation has now expanded to include U.S. Congressman Byron Donalds, who, along with Corey Mills, is under investigation for federal sex trafficking. Federal prosecutors are investigating two dates in question, May 17th, 2024, and November 19th, 2024. Dates when Congressman Mills and Donalds are said to have traveled to the MGM National Harbor, a luxury hotel resort in Oxon Hill, Maryland, where prosecutors believe that both Mills and Donalds solicited, procured, and paid women for sexual acts. Federal prosecutors are in the final stages of this investigation and will soon charge both men under Title 18 of the U.S. Code, Section 1952, a felony that carries a conviction of 5 years in prison.
All right, that's wild stuff, right? Now, Jason said it, and I agree. The idea that these guys are going to get charged, I don't know about that. But that's a pretty salacious, direct allegation that, if untrue, Donald should sue him for everything he's got. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. You can't be accusing people of federal crimes, sex trafficking. Now, he's basically saying prostitution. But I'm guessing the allegation he's making is something within the prostitution, cross state lines, or whatever, right? Who knows? But if that's not true, you got to sue Fishback for everything he's got. Now, Donald's, I thought, oh, man, I can't wait to see some juicy response from Donald's. I went to his Twitter yesterday. I didn't see anything. Here's what Donald's office said in an official statement. Completely false. We will not be distracted by this baseless and defamatory sideshow, and neither should you. That's Gates McGavick. That sounds like a guy who would work for a congressman, doesn't it? Gates McGavick. Donald's communications director said in a statement. It's wild stuff, guys. I mean, he's accusing him of not only a federal crime, but claims that the law enforcement is closing in on him. That's some crazy stuff. And it's not just the dude's running for governor of Florida. He's a sitting U.S. congressman. And this guy Fishback is indicting another congressman, Corey Mills, also from Florida. We'll see what happens. That's some crazy stuff. I give him credit. He did follow through. And it was something kind of juicy. A lot of times like, oh, there's going to be a big announcement. And the guy was jaywalking or something. We caught you not ringing up a pack of gum a few weeks ago. I mean, this is a pretty juicy thing, right? We'll see what happens. Okay, so Ilhan Omar, she's that radical maniac congressman from Minnesota. She had a town hall, and she got asked about impeaching Trump, because, of course, why not, right? Like, all things going on in the country. And it's some guy with a mask who's asking the question. The guy looks exactly the way you would think that a guy who would be at an Ilhan Omar rally would ask about, or a office event would be asking about impeaching Trump. And she basically said it's pointless to do it unless they take the Senate. Take a listen.
I mean, I don't know because our numbers are not set yet. There's still, like I said earlier, there's still primaries happening. So it depends on what the makeup looks like in the House and the Senate. There is, to me at least, I don't believe that there is a reason to engage in an impeachment effort if he is going to be acquitted in the Senate. So depending on what we're looking at and what purpose it will serve, that is going to be something that we have to look at.
What did he do to get impeached? She's just like, it doesn't matter. We'll find something. And if we got the votes, we're going to do it. I mean, so right? Like, they're going to do it again. They're gonna, if these guys get the Senate, they're going to do it again. They may do it anyway because they're serious, like, bloodlust for Trump, which is so weird. Like, just let him go off into the sunset. Why don't you guys get down to governing? And she's like, no. If we have the votes, we're doing it. So get ready. Get ready, Bal. You're going to in for a problem. All right, Bernie Sanders. You ever watch Bernie Sanders? Like, you ever just watch him give a speech or an interview? I pull a lot of the stuff off, Twitter, Facebook, all the other internet sources. So I watch these interviews as I'm pulling them off. And I watched this interview yesterday with Bernie Sanders. And I'm like, who the hell would see this guy and go, that's our boy? The poster child for whatever the cause is. Like, even if you agreed with everything Bernie Sanders says, who looks at Bernie Sanders and is like, let's make him the face of it? He's the guy we want everyone to see. So he was given an interview, and he lays out the standard to get his endorsement. He gets asked about the standard to get his endorsement. And what's interesting is, and he says this very clearly, simply being a liberal, not enough for him anymore. You got to be all in on the crazy. Any sense of moderation, especially on not letting the government completely take over healthcare or Israel, that's a big one for him. I mean, he says it right here. Being a liberal is not enough for Bernie Sanders anymore. You got to be all in on the socialist stuff. Take a listen.
Do you support the future leaders of America? Some great people in legislature right now that we've helped get elected. And we have trained, by the way. We have programs that say, hey, you want to run for office? This is how you send out a press release. This is how you do social media, et cetera, et cetera. But we have, limited resources. So what we do is, hey, what do you stand for? What do you stand for? If you are a moderate liberal type Democrat, that's great. There are other people who will support you. That's not us. Do you support Medicare for all, which is more or less for us? I think if you would ask me if there's one litmus test, probably Medicare for all would be it. Do you support a tax on billionaires? Are you prepared to take on the oligarchs? What is your view about the extremist government in Israel, the future leader?
That's wild. He's just like, liberal not enough anymore. You're all in on the socialism or we're out on you. And again, I'm watching this like, his hair's all messed up. Like he's bald. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being bald, but it's like the hair's like combed over to try to cover up the baldness, but it's still messed up. He's flailing his hands. He looks like he's about 97 years old. Like it's just, this is the face, the godfather of the modern socialist movement, and this is their guy. You know how you got to dress for success? You got to look the part that you want. If you want to do something, you got to go for it. This is it. This guy gives no cares. I have a feeling he has 5 shirts that he's worn from the week before that are strung on his bed, and he's like, I'm going to pick one of these. Laundry is too much effort. It's crazy. The guy he of course sounds like a dumpster fire. His views are insane, and he looks ridiculous. All right, Hassan Piker. Have you heard of this guy, Hassan Piker? Hassan Piker is the new it guy, internet influencer for the maniac left. I think TikTok is his thing he's been on, big on. But he is the guy for the big left. I'm not talking liberals or Democrats. I'm talking about the maniac socialist people. He is the cause du jour, and he is the guy that they all want the blessing from. So he's talking about prisons. And remember, the DSA lady said in that Fox News interview, abolish the prisons. And this is Hassan Piker going ballistic over people who want to make sure violent offenders are prosecuted, put behind bars, and get punishment for all their crimes. Guys, when these people talk, you need to listen. When they tell you what they are, you need to pay attention. Listen to this guy talking about violent offenders being put in prison.
I'm 100% closer to the prison abolitionist perspective than the average American's framework on this issue, because oh my God, you guys literally fantasize about the violent crimes that someone might have committed, and you fantasize further about how you need to create an equal vengeance structure. Americans sometimes literally feel like they want to be the rapist murderers.
It's insane. These people are insane. And they're taking over the Democrat Party. He believes that if you want to put people in prison who commit violent crimes, if you want to have a secure society, a safe society, and put these people behind bars, you fantasize somehow about rape or murder or whatever. No, these guys are a-holes. They're dangerous. We need to put them behind bars. We need to start listening to who these people are. If you look throughout human history, when these maniacs take over, it's because normally they tell you who they are, what they want to do, and people are asleep at the switch. Well, they're not the majority. Well, they're a fringe group. Well, this, well, that. We're going to interview Daniel Poynter from Save Heritage, Indiana in a little bit. He's got some views I don't agree with, and we're going to get into some of those. He has some views I do agree with, and we're going to get into some of those. There's nothing that Daniel Poynter is going to describe coming up here in a little bit that is remotely close to what Hassan Piker just said, which is if you want to put violent offenders behind bars, you somehow fantasize about rape or murder or whatever. That's nutso. And there's no pushback on that. But the Save Heritage guys, there's a 1,000-person rally in Fishers. Crazy stuff. We need to start paying attention to who the left is. All right, one other clip. So Trump was in Nevada. And he got asked, the event there in Nevada, he got asked about the SAVE Act, which the Senate appears to have no motivation whatsoever to pass. I mean, you're out of time now anyway to have an impact this year. But Trump got asked about what's going on with our voting. Here's what the president had to say. Take a listen.
I would say more than half of your states have serious election problems. That's why we want to have voter ID. It's why we want to have let's say, I think citizenship is very important. You have to prove your citizenship. In order to vote, you have to you have to show citizenship. I also think mail-in ballots, the concept of mail-in ballots, it's immediately corrupt. Jimmy Carter, the best thing he ever did, I didn't think he was a very good president, but he had a commission, and his commission came out to the conclusion you cannot have mail-in ballots. People will cheat, and we have to get rid of mail-in ballots.
I think the mail-in stuff is where he lost people, and I've been saying this for months now, guys. I'm all with him on the voter ID, the proof of citizenship. Look, I'm fine with what he wants to do with mail-in ballots. He doesn't have the votes for that. When you complicate stuff, again, the old saying, you confuse them, you lose them. And there's too much stuff, and then people think you're going to take away mail-in balloting. They don't like that. They're going to think you're going to take away early voting. They don't like that. They should have hammered home and just stayed on voter ID, proof of citizenship. It would have solved 75, 80% of the problems, which is way better than solving 0% of the problems, which is what he's going to end up getting. They're not getting anything passed. It's a colossal failure by the Republicans. Hey, you guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com. Your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. Hey, guys, help us out. Help us grow the program. Like, share, and subscribe right now if you can. Give us that thumbs up right there. If you're watching us live or on demand on YouTube, really helps us grow the program. All right, coming up here in a little bit, Daniel Poynter from Save Heritage Indiana is going to be with us. That's going to be a wild interview. He said a bunch of stuff that blew me away. I think you guys are going to be fascinated by that. We got Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle on the Andy Zay stuff, the suspicion of the gas tax stuff. Micah Beckwith sent me a letter to my house begging for money. I'm going to read part of that to you guys as well. And I'm going to make Beckwith an offer since he sent a letter to my house begging for money. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get to. Don't go anywhere. Nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
DC politicians don't care. Buying stocks with insider information, they get filthy rich. But if you did it, you'd get locked up. Thankfully, there's one fighter on our side. Senator Todd Young is pushing to ban all congressional stock trading forever. He's never traded a single stock while in Congress. Young's a Marine who does the right thing. Contact Senator Todd Young. Thank him for standing up for us and for fighting to ban congressional stock trading.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Indiana news, politics, and government you're not going to find anywhere else. You know, I was driving into work today, and I was thinking about just how your life changes. Like you think about your life and how quickly it changes. And our lives are sort of like in almost like pockets or quads or just little sections, right? Like if you think about your life, however old you may be, and you don't even realize this until you're older, because when you're young, everything is just sort of like compressed together. But you know, when you grow up, you go to high school, go to college, or you take a job, you have that period of life where you're young and the world is in front of you, and then, you most people sort of evolve or graduate or whatever word you want to use into sort of the adult life and a partner and a spouse. And then, maybe you have kids and your job may change based on your, like, think about your life. A lot of people you go back in your life and you think about how sort of things are in pockets, quadrants, whatever you want to call them. And I'm thinking about this. I'm driving into work today, and I'm thinking about part of getting older and your life changing, your life evolving is the game of reasonable expectations. What do I want to accomplish? What do I need to accomplish? What do I realistically think I can accomplish? That's sort of how I've now judged the adult life entering my 40s. Two things. Not even what do I want to accomplish anymore. It's what do I think I can accomplish, and what do I need to accomplish? Need is first, can is second. Jason and I were talking about this the other day. Like, we have some potential opportunities that maybe we'll be able to tell you about in the near future. We're optimistic about. And we were talking about just different things we would do with those. And how 10 or 15 years ago, the things that we might do with that opportunity aren't close to what we're going to do now. I just don't have 18 hours a day anymore. I don't got it anymore. Kids take up a lot of time. And, we're looking at these different potential opportunities and things we may end up doing. And we're thinking about, okay, we could do this. Yeah, but that would take a ton of time. But wouldn't it be cool? Yeah, but every time we do this, we end up making a bunch of work for ourselves. We end up making a bunch of work for ourselves, and somebody else gets a benefit from it, and we get nothing out of it. We're not doing that anymore. And I was thinking about this, like, we have this conversation driving in and thinking about sort of the same thing kind of applies to government. As I've gotten older, I have accepted that what I want to happen is not going to happen. Like, when I was young and first got started in all of this, I believe it's like, you can make the world whatever you want to make it. Oh, no, that's not the way it works. No. You might be able to get a little sliver of the world for yourself, and everything else, you're just rotating. You're just rotating around the sun. And when you think about government, I've come to that, what do I need my government to be, or in some cases not be? And what can it be? Not what I want it to be, but what do I need it to be, and what can it be? And I was thinking about with like Braun and the gas tax, because some people yesterday were like, why are you so upset about this? He's doing what you've asked for years to do. By the way, I was no gas tax before no gas tax was cool. It was like me and a couple of outside groups in 2017 that were bitching about the gas tax. Everybody else was like on board. And they said, well, this is what you asked for. Why are you bitching? Because the government appears to be brazenly breaking the law. And when I've seen it happen before, and the damaging impact it can have on something I don't like, I can't accept it with something that I do. Because I know the pendulum will swing back, and we'll be back, like in COVID, with something I don't like. And if I'm going to be critical of overreaching executive authority during COVID, which I was, then I would be a hypocrite for not doing it now. It's not an either or. That's the thing that pisses me off the most. It's not an either or. You can have the gas taxes suspended, and you can do it the right way that respects the rule of law in our Constitution. Like, we act like as though it's an either or equation. Either the governor has to break the law or we pay higher gas prices. It's not. Doing the gas taxes, plural, suspension, could be done the right way. It's not a lot of work. The governor says, I'm calling a special session. I'm asking the General Assembly to approve an indefinite suspension of the taxes on gas. They meet, they vote. It should be about a 20-minute endeavor. But for some reason, we're not doing that. And that makes me angry. Given what I've seen 5-6 years ago with COVID, I know it'll happen again. It tells me we haven't learned anything. And so operating in that sphere of what do I want government to be versus what I need it to be and what it can be, we need the government to respect the rule of law. Our whole system is set up around the rule of law. If we don't follow the laws, then nothing means anything. It's the same reason I'm so upset about the Max Engling illegal donation. He had to know what that group was. He was affiliated with them on multiple occasions. He's on the internet. He's their featured speaker or guest speaker at their event at the Republican convention 11 days before he gets the illegal $60,000 donation. The idea that he didn't know what they were or didn't know who to ask if he wasn't sure is ludicrous. It's bull. And yet, there's no outcry. Why? Because people want the Republican. It's 12 times the legal limit. It's not $5 over. And other than people like myself, Dave Shelton, there's no outcry over this. Why? Because people want the Republican to win. I think Engling's on one of those shows today. You think they're going to ask him about it or grill him about it? No. Not going to happen. They may ask him about it. They're not going to grill him about it. They're not going to ask him, how the hell could you not know the status of an organization that a year ago you were promoting and you were their guest speaker right before the convention, and 11 days later you got the donation? How could you not know? They're not going to ask him, are you prepared to show proof you gave the money back on July 14th like David Shelton has asked? When we let people get away with illegal government or bad government based on sides, we end up where we're at in this country. You know, it's interesting. Trump is starting to lose endorsements. He lost a Tuesday in Tennessee. Andy Ogles lost for a U.S. House race, which he had Trump's endorsement. He's an incumbent congressman. He lost. In Iowa, Trump lost a few weeks ago, month ago now, whatever it's been. He lost in Michigan on Tuesday in a race that he endorsed. And I think a big reason because of that, or a big reason for that, is because people aren't enamored with Trump anymore, like even they were a couple months ago. This Iran stuff has took it out of people. The Iran war has taken it out of people because it has violated multiple pacts that Trump had with his base. And Trump is vulnerable, and Trump has low approval ratings, and people are starting to see Trump's not the golden goose anymore. We can move on from that. But the problem is people did whatever Trump said for so long. You've put yourself in a position where a lot of people who are in our government probably aren't best to be in our government, or a lot of people are going to win elections or have won elections probably aren't the best people. Was it on the show the other day where we were talking about how Fetterman got elected? Yeah, was it on the show, right? Somebody asked. The answer is Trump's endorsement. The Republicans did whatever Trump said, despite every piece of polling data, the eye test, everything saying, don't pick Dr. Oz. He's not from here. He comes off aloof and arrogant. People don't like him. Don't pick Dr. Oz. Trump said, pick Dr. Oz. Republicans did what he said. He lost. The other guy who was running against Oz, if he'd have won, he probably would have been the senator. Trump lost that Senate seat. But people have had for several years now, many years now, this bizarre hypnosis where if Trump says it, we have to do it. And now I think we're beginning to move on from that because Trump is more vulnerable than he's ever been. He's more disliked than he's ever been. And people are like, okay, it's okay to make our own choices. We have to stop going along with bad stuff just because we like an outcome. It's a desired outcome. Or it's our team. Or it's our guy. Look, you think about like this Ohio congressman, Max Miller. If you're going to say Plattner's got to go for what appears to be horrific behavior with evidence is the key. Then there also appears to be evidence with Max Miller. And yet a lot of people who were demanding Plattner go have not said anything about Max Miller. You've got to think about it. Like I said, simplicity, right? What do I want? What do I need? What can it realistically be? At 40 plus, want is gone. Want is gone in almost every facet of my existence. Right? I had the period of want. It was a fun period. You know, the quadrants of my life or the boxes of my life. I had the period where whatever you want to do, you can try to do it. And if you fail, you're only harming yourself. That's done for me. I've waved goodbye to that. In all facets, not just the government. But what do I need it to be? And what can it be? And in the case of Braun with this gas tax, what I need it to be and what it can be they're simpatico. They should be the same. I need my government to follow the laws at all times, whether I agree with the end result or not. And the government can follow the law at all times. And in this case, neither of those things are happening. All right, big news. Trump is going after birthright citizenship again. How about this? So, of course, Trump gets reelected. Day one, executive order, birthright citizenship. Now, everybody under the sun, if they're being remotely honest with themselves, knows the 14th Amendment was about ensuring that slaves were afforded the rights of this country that everybody else had. It is without debate. It's without discussion. It is ironclad. The 14th Amendment was to protect freed slaves after the Civil War. And all of us should be like, good job. That makes a lot of sense. And part of that was birthright citizenship to ensure that those people who are of this country, were born in this country, are Americans, are American citizens, they get rights. Great job. Good policy. There is no way that 160 years ago that our government was like, yeah, people who sneak into the country and shoot out a shorty, that kid should be a citizen. No. No person's going to say that. No. Birthright citizenship was about protecting freed slaves. Full stop. No ifs, ands, or buts. Nothing else to add on it. And yet, over time, totally ignoring original intent, which is always key when discussing what the Constitution means, what rights means, what laws mean. What original intent? What was the goal of the people when they wrote it? Here's what the text says, textualist, which is fine. And when you pair that with original intent, what does this actually mean? And yet, activist judges for generations now have somehow morphed that into, well, anybody who's born in this country, with a very few exceptions, they're U.S. citizens. It's ridiculous. And so Trump does this day one executive order. Of course, all these judges strike it down. The Supreme Court strikes it down. And now Trump said, okay, you guys made your ruling. I'm coming back with a new ruling based on what your ruling was, that we can at least try to keep these people from being citizens. From the Hill, President Trump on Thursday signed 2 executive orders, again aimed at restricting birthright citizenship. Quote, we had a very unfortunate decision in the Supreme Court concerning birthright, Trump said from the Oval Office. It was close, but very, very unfortunate decision. So we're making adjustments because it's very unfair. Now, remember, the final ruling was 6-3, but really on the actual idea of birthright citizenship, it was 5-4. Kavanaugh ruled against Trump, but not on the merits of birthright citizenship. Not on the merits of he said the executive order, the way Trump worded his executive order, ran afoul of federal law. That's not the Constitution. Laws and Constitution are 2 different ballgames. So in terms of the actual birthright citizenship, you count Kavanaugh in with the 3 who were dissenters. He did not rule against birthright citizenship. He ruled that the executive order ran afoul of federal law. It was from the 1940s. So Trump is saying, okay, based on what I heard and based on it being really 5-4, let's at least try to say these people don't get to stay. One of the president's orders expands the definition of who would be ineligible for automatic citizenship, including alien enemies of the United States, members of foreign terrorist organizations, as well as the children of diplomats and other recognized international organizations. Now, historically, there have been some very specific areas where the courts have said birthright citizenship does not apply. Children born in the U.S. to foreign sovereigns and diplomats, children born on foreign public ships, and children of Native American tribes. Also, children of foreign forces of a hostile occupation. Those are sort of the 4 ones that have always been done. Quote, it ensures that large numbers of people who wrongly would be getting birthright citizenship will no longer be eligible for those benefits, said White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. The second one, and this is the big one, is banning the practice of birth tourism. And what birth tourism is when people travel to another country for the primary purpose, basically the sole goal of giving birth on American soil so that kid will be an American citizen. Usually, this is done through getting a visa or the ability to access the country through fraudulent means. The number, it's estimated, and this is from the Migration Policy Institute, is that 26,000 babies a year are born through birth tourism. Now, look, that might not sound like a lot. Now, Trump says it's much higher. Trump says it could be 100,000 or more. Who knows? Let's just say it's in the middle. Let's say it's 50,000. That may not sound like a lot in a country of 350 million people. But does the number even matter? I mean, think about 50,000 people, a lot of them needing government service. Think about how much money that would be. 50,000 people who subverted the law to be citizens, which means their parents would probably end up getting to stay, even though they're not U.S. citizens, while other people are standing in line trying to do things the right way. What message does that send to everyone else? The obvious message it sends is don't do things the right way. Again, Daniel Poynter is going to join us coming up here in just a little bit from Save Heritage, Indiana. We're going to talk about these sorts of things, what his group is actually about. What do they actually want to accomplish? This was a quote from Stephen Miller. If you're telling a consular officer you're here as a tourist, but your true purpose and intent is to go to a baby mill, give birth, and try to mint an American citizen while you're here, then you're committing a fraud against the American government. And by definition, that visa can and should and will now be denied. It's a common sense thing. The problem is you have a whole bunch of activist judges in our court system that don't want common sense. They want, and we'll get into this with Daniel Poynter, the left wants, and I've said this for years, illegal immigration or mass, the asylum seekers, et cetera, is about creating an entire generation, a future generation of registered Democrat voters. That's exactly what it's about. No ifs, ands, or buts. And our legal system, because we have so many liberal activist judges, are all on board with it. Look, the ruling by Roberts, look, I expect the three squirrels to have voted against it. Kagan, Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown Jackson. But I have no idea on what planet Coney Barrett and Roberts are living when they see what's going on in this country. I mean, you could have potentially 20 to 30 million people that are in this country illegally, many of them flooded in under Joe Biden. You have people who have clearly overstayed or abused their legal entry into the country. J.D. Vance played you a clip the other day of him talking about the asylum fraud. And you have tens of millions of people needing services, getting jobs, all of this stuff. And you just go, that's fine. Well, the idea that you could justify or rationalize or explain to yourself or explain to yourself or convince yourself that in the 1860s, that birthright citizenship was about people flooding across the southern border. Yeah, you guys come on in. It's cool. Stay a while. No, it was about slavery. And that was the right thing to do. We've got to get a handle on who's coming into this country. You got to do something. Good on Trump for keep trying. I'm not sure it's going to get him anywhere, but at least he's trying. Many homeowners are sitting on more equity than they realize, guys. And if you've owned your home for a few years, now may be a good time to explore your options. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage is a local mortgage advisor helping Central Indiana homeowners refinance to access cash for home improvements, consolidate higher interest debt, or simply review a better loan structure if it's available. Gary believes every homeowner deserves a personalized mortgage review, not a one-size-fits-all solution from a call center. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more. Loansbygary.homes to learn more. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. Coming up in a little bit, I'm going to read this letter that Micah sent me begging for money. Got a little offer for him off the letter that he sent. I hope he'll take me up on it. And coming up next, it's the interview everybody's been waiting for. This Save Heritage Indiana group. Super controversial. They had that big event in Greenfield. There was the big counter protest in Fishers. What do these guys actually want? What are they trying to accomplish? Are they Nazis and KKK people, as some have alleged? Daniel Poynter, Executive Director, Save Heritage Indiana, will be with us next. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. A lot of controversy over the past few weeks about the group Save Heritage Indiana and their big event that they had Saturday in Greenfield, a protest in Fishers. And with us, the big boss of Save Heritage Indiana, Daniel Poynter. Daniel, hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Tell us about well, let's start with this, because I've heard all the names, all the phrases, the Nazis, the KKK. Can you confirm to us you are indeed not a Nazi or a member of the KKK?
Correct.
Okay, boom. We checked it off.
I like George Washington, and I like him when he's in a meme with red eyes.
Okay, so tell us about the group Save Heritage Indiana, why you guys put together the group, what you're trying to accomplish.
What we're trying to accomplish is, at the federal level, an immigration moratorium, which is what we did in the 1920s for about 40 years, where we have basically a total ban on all immigration, legal and illegal, so that the American people can heal. And then the other thing we want is mass deportations of all the people who broke into our country. Just as if someone broke into your home, you would want them out of your home. So we want immigration moratorium, and we want mass deportations.
Okay, let's start with the deportations, because I've said some of the things you guys say I agree with, some of the things I have some issues with, but let's start with the deportations. What is the argument, the logical argument to say if you've broke the law, you get to stay here? That's what I struggle with. If there's not a punishment for breaking the law, then why would anybody ever come here legally or follow the law?
I know. It's not that complicated. I could talk about a lot of complicated policy things, but at the end of the day, I want to keep it simple. If somebody breaks into your house, that is not a good way to start a relationship.
That's a good point.
You know, if you want to come into my house and you want to avail yourself of all the nice things I have, you should knock at the door nicely and be a little gracious. Similarly, with this TPS stuff and refugees and so on, if your buddy gets divorced and he has a bad divorce, you might let him sleep on your couch for a week. But if a week turns into 6 months, it's okay to say, dude.
So what you guys are saying as it relates to like the asylum people, and we played a clip of J.D. Vance earlier this week, the vice president basically saying the same thing, is, hey, if you're an asylum seeker and you are genuinely fleeing some sort of horrific event or an oppressive government where you're fearful for your life, that's one thing, but that's not an indefinite stay. And for many of these people, it's turned into an indefinite stay.
Obviously, it's called temporary. And I think this is an example of how our enemies are using our virtues against us. We are a generous people. As I understand, we are the only country in the world that welcomes people like this. And our enemies are using this against us. We want to be gracious and help people. But that doesn't mean that you flood our electorate with newcomers, hook them on welfare, and create a new voting bloc.
All right, Daniel Poynter's our guest. I call you the founder?
Co-founder.
And
executive director.
That's right. You're all the stuff. The high guy over there at Save Heritage Indiana. So talk about putting the group together. Talk about the response you've had from the group. I want to get to the event on Saturday in a moment, but talk about sort of momentum or lack thereof. How has the group been received? And how do you feel it's going so far? What are you accomplishing?
Well, I want to start with my role. I really like thinking in conversation with others. I don't do very well sitting in my study thinking. I think discussing with, like Socrates. And similarly, we have a whole team of people who help me think through ideas. I throw ideas out there and we think collaboratively. So I'm not the high guy. I'm like the representative.
You're the face.
I'm the face. That's it. But there's a lot of awesome, righteous, high IQ, patriotic, high testosterone men in our group, and I'm just the face.
How have you guys been received? by lawmakers? How have you been received by power players? Obviously, you were able to get Todd Rokita to do a message at your event. Beckwith did a message. And then Banks and the governor declined to, which we'll talk about in a second. But how have you felt like the reception has been to the group? How are you guys progressing?
Well, when we just got started, we went to the Statehouse and talked to lawmakers, maybe 20 of them. And one of them told me that there's a joke among lawmakers that every interest group has a lobby. Cancer survivors, hospitals, war machine, except for two. This is the joke: taxpayers and parents. I know you'll appreciate that. But then he said, talking to you, there's another interest group that doesn't have a lobby around here. It's just average Hoosiers who want moderate immigration.
And I've said this over the last few days because I watched the event. It was streamed on the internet. I watched it, not carefully. I was doing other stuff, but I thought, okay, I've heard all this stuff about this group. Let me watch this event. And I didn't see anything that isn't outside somewhat of the mainstream. Now, I don't necessarily agree with you guys on the total ban on immigration. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the idea that you guys say, if you broke the law to come into this country, you got to go back, and people who want to do things the right way should be, in the front of the line. I don't understand why that is controversial at all. Were you surprised at the pushback that you guys got?
Well, there's a lot of psychologies and economic forces on the left. Generally, the way I see their motivations is the left, most of the people are driven by suicidal empathy. That's why they walk their pit bulls around and let their pit bulls destroy their children. The operatives are more cynical. They want to bring in a new voting bloc, hook them on welfare, and that's how they want to win elections. Well,
now, I think I'm with you on that. I've said that for years on radio and on this show, that the mass legal immigration under Biden was about creating a generation of Democrat voters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what happened in California, as I understand it. The details are fuzzy. Reagan did an amnesty deal. I guess the other side didn't uphold their bargain.
That's right. The deal was Simpson Mazzoli, I think, was the deal. He was 86. We give you the amnesty. We get the border security. You got the amnesty, like 2 million people. You got no border security.
Now California will be blue forever.
Right.
So that's what motivates the left: suicidal empathy and importing a new voter bloc because they don't like us. Now on the right, among the donor class, almost entirely it's GDP go up. They don't want to pay someone at a slaughterhouse $30 an hour. They would rather pay them $10 an hour. And you can see that makes sense. Now, the other people on the right are the working class people. Since NAFTA was passed, about 50,000 factories have left the country and 2 million people have died deaths of despair. Who represents these people? They don't have a lot of money. There was even a Harvard economist, I'm blanking on his name, Borjas, I think his name was. He did a study that said that every year there's a transfer of $500 billion of wealth from the immigration losers to the immigration winners. The immigration losers are native-born working class people. The immigration winners are the corporations and the immigrants themselves.
Daniel Poynter is our guest, Save Heritage Indiana. How did you get involved with this? Like, what's your background?
I've always been an organizer. In middle school, the principal called me into his office and said, "Daniel, I'm real disappointed in you." I said, "Why?" He goes, "You called a lunch lady a witch bitch." And I laughed. I'm like, I've never said those words. So he made me go to the lunch lady and apologize to her. But I was on the student council, so I was indignant. I go, this injustice will not stand. I went back. This was in the 90s when we all had AOL, Instant Messenger. I emailed my friends and I said, we are going to strike at lunch on Valentine's Day. Do not buy your lunch. And out of 300 kids, only 2, the scabs, bought their lunch. And then the student council president called me in, the teacher, and said, "I'm real disappointed in your leadership, Daniel." And in retrospect, that is leadership. There's no reason to be disappointed. So I've always been this way.
Are you surprised at the pushback you've received? Are you surprised at the name calling? Like, it's one thing to, and we're going to talk here in a moment. I disagree with you on one of the things you guys are about. I agree with you on some of the stuff. I disagree. But the name calling, I mean, the worst thing you could do is call somebody a Nazi or a KKK person because of the horrific things those people did. Are you surprised how quickly it elevated to that?
No, not at all. After Charlie Kirk was murdered, actually, my co-founder, Nathan Roberts, and I were in Micah Beckwith's office about to do an interview with him about the Haitian Temporary Protective People. And Micah came out and said, "Charlie's been shot." I said, "Oh, is he okay?" He goes, "It doesn't look like it." There was a poll that came out after that said 22% of people under 30 think the murder was justified. So if you walk around the mall, if you're stupid enough to walk around, Castleton Mall or downtown mall, if it still is open, 1 in 5 young people think that it was okay that Charlie was murdered. So I am not surprised by that. But what I am surprised by is people on our own side who talk a big game about protecting our vanguard. The left protects their vanguard. Nancy Pelosi is in cahoots with AOC, and even further to the left, the socialists and so on, and Antifa. Does our side protect our vanguard? That's what really surprised me. I'm not surprised by these leftists. The way someone explained it to me was that the CIA was created to, mess with elections abroad. They were never supposed to mess with our domestic affairs. Obviously they are. Obviously they've been studying psychology and brainwashing for a long time, and they're using those techniques with their plants in the media, et cetera, Operation Mockingbird and so on. So it's really sad. A lot of our countrymen, our fellow countrymen, are victims of the most potent propaganda known to man. It's a miracle that anybody breaks out of that propaganda, but half of our countrymen are enthralled by that propaganda. So when they say Nazi, whatever, it's sad, but it's kind of, they're just lemmings.
I mean, I watched the event, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you agree with some stuff, disagree with some stuff, and I saw, people there. I know some of the people there. It's like, that's what angered me. It's like, that you guys are not that. Let's talk about the event on Saturday. You guys got criticism for doing it in secret, not disclosing the location. Well, right. I mean, you're not broadcasting the location. Why did you guys choose not to make it a little more public? Why did you make it a private event? Why did you not broadcast it in public?
There was threats to Charlie Kirk's life, and people said, Charlie, you really should do these things behind a bulletproof plastic. And he goes, no, I don't want to do that. And you can see how that turned out.
And this is what I said is, for our industry, talk radio last year, that was a big deal. Now, we still get up, we go to work every day, but it was a big deal. So your concern was for the safety of yourselves and the people there, that if you did it in public, somebody was going to attempt an act of violence on you.
Yes.
If you had it to do over again, would you do it exactly the same way you did it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll let you ask your next question.
No, go ahead.
If I could do it over again, well, actually, our team, we did a 2-hour after-action report, which is what the military does whenever they do an event. We spent 2 hours going around saying what went well. We created like 50 items. What was challenging? What are the lessons learned? And what are we going to do next time? So we are distilling this into a potent template and a budget and a checklist that any patriot in the country can use to host Commander Bovino in their state. And at the event, I asked about 135 attendees, who here will ask their friends in other states to host this? Everybody raised their hand. And then 2 people came up to me, one from Kentucky and one from Florida, said, I'm doing it. So we are going to spread this all over the country.
Okay, so it's always the crowd size, right? Like, some people were trying to say it was a couple dozen. I saw the thing. We had Whitmer on. He said I did a hand count. Stephen's very into his numbers. I have no reason to doubt. It was probably about 135 people, right?
The reason why I say that is because we had a tent we paid like $4,000 for, which was very leaky. But I'm not asking for my money back. And there was 100 chairs that came with the tent. My wife said that all the chairs were spoken for. And then there was about 25 or 30 people milling about.
Yeah. So that was his number. The room looked full. I mean, not that it matters, right? Do you think you can even have an event like this in public? Now, could you have a pro border enforcement, pro legal immigration, anti-amnesty event in public without there being some sort of violence? Could you even pull that off?
Well, if you classify threats as violence, no.
Which I would.
No, you couldn't. Obviously, if we hosted the event tomorrow on the Circle, maybe nobody shoots me in the face. But there's going to be hundreds of people threatening on Facebook.
And that's what I said is my one thing, and I understand what you're saying. I felt like it gave the amnesty, abolish ICE people leverage, because they're like, oh, well, we had 1,000 people. And my point was, it was supposed to be a private event. It wasn't supposed to be big. They're charging people. You couldn't have got people to pay $3 to go to the other event. But I just felt like, okay, the narrative then becomes, look at how many people they had versus how many people you had. That doesn't bother you at all.
Well, for the lower IQ people, that's where they're going to go, and because people compare numbers. And I wouldn't have known this 2 years ago, but the real story is the asymmetry of violence. We are up against the regime. I said that half the country wants to import a new voting bloc to disenfranchise real Americans. The other part of the country, the donors of the conservative, they want to bring in these people to reduce our wages. So a majority of the power in the country wants this. So by definition, we are up against the regime. We couldn't host this in the 20th largest city in the country, in Indianapolis.
That's really sad.
I know it is. We had to go to the country underground as like a resistance movement.
So you weren't hiding from the media.
No, I'm doing media.
Well, that's my point. And I said it was streamed on the internet. I watched it, right? Okay. Before we get back to the event, one issue I have with you guys is you're for cutting off essentially all immigration to the country, right? Like I'm with you on getting the illegal people out of the country. I don't care violent, you broke the rules, out. But we are a country that was based on immigration and assimilation. And if somebody wants to come here and work, I believe in a big wall and a wide gate. What does cutting off immigration collectively do? How does that better the country? Why wouldn't we reward people who want to come here, work hard, and assimilate and be a part of us?
Yeah, I've been to Miami and I've had taxi drivers that were from Cuba, and they are the most patriotic people you will ever meet. So I'm with you. But this is about moderation. Every philosopher since Aristotle said that the way to wisdom is by being moderate. Sometimes we have a lot of immigration, sometimes we have less. It's like an animal that eats food. It's fine to eat some turkey, but if you eat 3 turkeys, you need to take a break for a couple days.
You're saying there's been too much over a short period of time.
And let me rewind a little bit.
So you're not saying you're anti-immigration. You're saying there have been too many people come into this country in a short period of time.
Yeah, it's about moderation. And I did not know this 2 years ago. We could mention this. I founded a climate change nonprofit.
Oh, interesting.
I ran it for 5 years in Indiana, of all places. And then I got red-pilled when I had kids. And then I got red-pilled when I went to Costco.
So what, you were kind of like a liberal guy?
Yes, of course.
No, wait, let's go back to that a second, because I don't think I've never heard anybody say that. You were kind of a liberal guy to the point where you were in the climate change movement, for lack of a better term.
Not just that, but I was an engineer. My salary ranged like an engineer's does. And my wife and I sacrificed over $500,000 of lost income to build a climate change nonprofit in Indiana.
And what changed? Literally just having kids changed you?
Well, no, that was part of it. But I thought naively when I built this nonprofit, I knew that a lot of the environmental movement was communist. I knew that. They're called watermelons, green on the outside, red on the inside.
So this floors me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, because you strike me as a guy who came out of the womb in a suit and tie on the right wing.
Can I say I proposed to my wife at a climate activist thing in London at Trafalgar Square. There was these Extinction Rebellion people gluing their hands to the ground, and I proposed to my wife in that. And if I could do it again, I would do it at a castle.
So what was there a moment that changed you? Or?
Well, what I'm saying is that I knew that much of the environmental movement was communist. So I thought naively that if I promoted the free market and free market solutions to environmental problems, and if I had great KPIs, key performance indicators, if I showed that $1 into my organization created awesome outcomes, I thought the money would come. It never came. After the Black Lives Matter movement, the environmental movement got co-opted by this equity, racial justice movement, and it became more and more difficult to even operate in that movement. So I got pushed out eventually.
All right, go back to the rally here. A couple minutes left here with Daniel Poynter, Save Heritage Indiana. You had Bavino as the speaker. Yeah. Why did you choose Bavino? Why was he the guy? Because so much of the controversy is around Bavino and who he is. Why was he the guy? Do you regret him?
Not at all.
The focal point.
Dude, the commander's awesome. He's kind of he
was the border security commander, basically.
Yeah, and he was at Border Patrol for 30 years. And in an interview, he said that his gut instinct and his intuition and his math was that there's 100 million illegals in this country.
Well, because that's always the thing. Like they always say that there's 15, 20. A lot of people think there's more than that. He says 100?
Well, I saw the John Birch Society. I followed them on Twitter. They were founded in Indiana. Alex Jones called them the OG. So the John Birch Society...
Now, Jones is a little squirrely, right?
John Birch Society posted this screenshot of a document 50 years ago that congressional testimony said there was like 15 to 20 million illegals, and that was 50 years ago. They've been saying this number forever.
And you're saying that there is a historical precedent for cutting off immigration in the United States.
That's what I wanted to get to. So 2 years ago, I did not know this, but in the 1890s, the founding stock, which is the people who came here from the Mayflower and built a civilization where there was nothing, and then they fought in the Civil War, etc. The founding stock saw that 15% of the people here were foreign-born, and they thought that was too much. So it took them 30 years and then of organizing, and then in the 20s, they passed an immigration moratorium for 40 years until Hart-Celler in the 1960s, and the foreign-born percentage went from 15% down to 5%. And the Ellis Islanders, of whom I'm part founding stock, but I'm also part Italian. My wife's Italian and Irish. We're not haters, but it's all about moderation and the percentage of foreign born. Now, I think we're way past 15%. We might be at 20 or 30%. So it's time to close the border and basically let ethnogenesis occur.
Okay, so before I let you go, can there be a compromise between your position and the other side? Is there a way as Americans we can come together and we can find some sort of compromise that works? Because I feel like I'm in the I'm with you on the illegal immigrants. I'm not with you on cutting off immigration. Is there a compromise that works, or is one side going to win and one side's going to lose?
Well, first of all, half of the country wants to frankly disenfranchise real Americans and replace them with new voters. I don't want to compromise with that. The other part, the donors, they don't really love us either. They want to drive our wages down. So I don't want to compromise with them either. You're a libertarian, right?
Everybody hates me anymore.
No. So you might know this more, but if you look at inflation by purchasing power, I saw somebody said that a civil engineer was paid in today's dollars and gold to build the Panama Canal $500,000 a year in purchasing power. So the purchasing power of Americans has been destroyed. Furthermore, 2 million of us have died since the 90s. I don't want to talk about compromise until we actually have some empathy for our fellow Americans. A lot of these people who lost their dad to alcohol, now their hair is blue. Now they're transvestite. Now they sell themselves on sex websites. Let's think about our fellow Americans before we start to quibble about negotiating.
If people want to learn more about Heritage Indiana, how can they do it?
Twitter.
What's the handle?
Heritage Indiana.
Oh, pretty easy, right?
I try to be authentic. I'm not doing a lot of PR and games. I'm trying to be authentic there. And then also saveheritageindiana.org.
Yeah, and I said this. I said, I didn't know anything about you guys. I watched the rally or the event in Greenfield. I messaged you right away. You don't hide from anybody. No. You got right back to me. Said, hey, I'll come in. We'll have the conversation. And I think it's a good one to have. I mean, you guys have a very interesting point of view, and I think it's a very interesting conversation.
And it's not really new or radical. The final point I want to end on is that if our laws meant anything and they were enforced, there wouldn't be any illegals here. Furthermore, now that they're here, if our laws meant anything, they would be deported immediately. And the last thing I want to say is, if anybody who calls themselves a conservative should agree with that and be willing to say so publicly.
Yeah, I think illegal immigration is a major, major issue. Daniel Poynter, Save Heritage Indiana. Thank you. I will take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Friday. Thanks for spending it with us. Coming up here just a little bit, I got a letter mailed to my house from Micah Beckwith begging for money. So I'm going to read part of that letter. It's just unbelievable. He got my name wrong. It's a very Micah thing. Give me money, whatever your name is. So we'll talk about that here in just a moment. First couple of housekeeping items. Number one, help us out. Help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Like, share, and subscribe right now. Number one thing you do, hit that little thumbs up button. If you're watching us live or on demand onto YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. Helps us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Hey, it's Friday, and that means it's time for dinner at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. You got Friday dinner, Saturday dinner, Sunday brunch buffet, on the water in beautiful Brazil. A little out of the way, a little bit of a drive right there in 40, but totally worth it. It's on the water, scenic view, chance to get out, relax, breathe, and enjoy a made-from-scratch meal. They call it Hoosier Grub at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. And if you got any doubts on how good the food actually is, ask our guy, Super Chatter, Ken Egold. That is a regular weekend destination for him. He will tell you how great the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro actually is. Menu this week, specials, company meatloaf, bacon-wrapped pork medallion with sriracha, honey drizzle. Oh, man, that sounds amazing. Bacon-wrapped pork medallion with sriracha, honey drizzle, salted caramel cheesecake, and hummingbird cake. Just some of the fine specials this week at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage on the water in beautiful Brazil. Reservations not required but preferred. 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. All right, so that interview we did with Daniel Poynter was fascinating, and I want to touch on it here for a little bit. Because those guys have been called a lot of things. And you're not required to agree with him or them. You're not required to like them. You're not required to think they have the right policies. There's nothing there that even remotely insinuated that guy or those people are Nazis or KKK members. You're entitled to think that they're too strict on immigration, that all the illegals should be allowed to stay. It seems like a expressway to hell for your country, but you can think it. You're entitled to think, like I do, hey, a total ban on immigration, maybe not the best idea. We need it to be tighter. We need to be stronger. We need it to be better. We need better vetting. I don't agree with total ban on immigration. But they're not Nazis. And that's part of why I wanted to do that interview, because we start throwing these names out like they're nothing anymore. We just throw them out left and right. Hey, you're a Nazi. Hey, you're a KKK person. No, they're not. No, they're not. There's not anything that guy said there, and we talked to him for 20 minutes, that any person who actually understands the history of Nazis or the history of the KKK would say that's in line with the Nazis of the KKK. Nothing. He's entitled to think there's too many people illegally in the country. He's entitled to think there's too many people who have immigrated to this country. And you're entitled to think the other way. But when we start throwing those words out, they lose their meaning. And those words have real meaning. We need to never forget the damage that those people did, the heinous violence that those people committed. And you're also demeaning the memory of people who suffered violence from those people. Look, I'm not a member of that group. I didn't go to their event. You're probably never going to see me at one. There's some things I agree with him on. There's some things I don't agree with him on. But we got to get better as people, because we've entered the everyone I don't like is a Nazi phase of our existence. And that is the absolute worst thing we could be doing. All words have meaning. Those words have meaning. What those people did was heinous beyond words. 6 million Jews killed. 6 million. There's nothing you heard there that's even on the same universe as that. He simply said, too many people illegally in the country. They all got to go because they broke the law. He's not for killing anyone. None of that. He said there's too many people who have abused the immigration system. They got to go. We need to stop that. That's not killing anybody. That's a policy position, which you're entitled to not like and not agree with. But what you don't get to do is call everybody you don't like a Nazi because you're diluting the meaning of the word, and it needs to have meaning. Those words need to have meaning forever because of the heinous acts and times and people they represented. He's entitled to have his opinion. You're entitled to have yours. You don't have to like him. He doesn't have to like you. You don't have to go to his event. But he's not a Nazi. The people that were at that event, not Nazis. I hope we can all do better with that going forward and recognize we're entitled to not like someone. We're entitled not to agree with someone. We're entitled to be passionate about our belief system. But stop demeaning, stop diluting, stop belittling the suffering that people who actually were subjected to Nazis or were subjected to the Klan had to go through. We're not going to get anywhere in our society. I mean, when you look at someone and go, you're a Nazi, you're done. It's part of why I went off on the libertarians the other day. And it got their attention, right? That's ridiculous. I've supported libertarians on my show, giving them a platform, because I support free speech. I support dialogue because I think free speech and dialogue is how we get better policy. But that's not free speech. That's laziness. It's also hyper-offensive. And I'm not going to support that anymore. If that's what you're going to do, anybody you don't like who has a valid policy position, whether you agree with it or not, to call them a Nazi, then I'm done with it. You can have that opinion. We're done. You're never going to see me promote them ever again, if that's your opinion. You can come on here every day and go, I disagree with them. I don't like that. I blah, blah, blah. My opinion on this, whatever. You know us. We have all sorts of people. We have polar opposite side of the spectrum. We have Jesse Brown on. We are free speech people. You're not going to call people Nazis and come on the show unless they're actual Nazis or actual members of the Klan. We've got to start being able to have conversations with people we disagree with and without the name calling, the violence, the all of that. It's got to stop. And it's not going to be tolerated here. Again, you know us. We hate the government. And you rip them. You say what you think of them, and if people have policies you don't like, you go at them. Not Nazis. Oh, no, I hate the government. I don't hate the idea of America, though. I hate what they've morphed the government into, the size, the scope. The idea of America is wonderful. The idea of America is amazing. America is the greatest idea ever conceived by man, and we are all wholly blessed to be able to live here and wake up here every single day. All right, I'm going to get this letter from Beckwith begging for money here in a second. But first, do you guys have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? All American Dog Fence can make sure that you can protect your furry friend anytime you go outside without the blazing hot summers or freezing cold winters. Maybe your HOA won't allow you to put a fence in. All American Dog Fence is the solution. It's the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system designed to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All American Dog Fence, locally owned. Kelly and Jeff, huge fans of our show. They bought All American Dog Fence. They got 3 dogs of their own. They love the product. They said, we're buying the business. How about that for a testimonial? Totally free estimate. You got nothing to lose. Give them a call. Give them a text. All American Dog Fence, 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. Or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. allamericandogfence.com. What a deal. You call them or text them, 317-862-6606. You say, hey, heard about you guys on the Rob Kendall Show. You know what they're going to do? They're going to give you an incredible $200 off your purchase. Bam. All American Dog Fence. allamericandogfence.com, 317-862-6606. All right, let's get to this letter that came to my house. And now I will point out, I devalued the letter because I wrote a bunch of notes on it. It does have Micah's signature on it. I mean, it's just his first name. I don't know if he's like Cher now. He just does the first name, Madonna. But I got a letter from Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith begging for money. And I thought I might read some of it to you. And then I got an offer here for Micah. First of all, it says, Dear Bob. In my entire life, never been called Bob. Never been a Bobby. I've been a Robert in official documents. I've been a Robbie. I'm a Rob now, never been a Bob. So right there, if I didn't know you, strike one. You got my name wrong. But that seems very par for the course with the lack of detail that goes into anything Beckwith does. So Dear Bob, this is gold. I cannot thank you enough for being a loyal friend. Got my name wrong, but I'm a loyal friend. Haven't talked to the guy in, basically a year now, but loyal friend. Because when you think a loyal friend, right, you think some guy who stabbed you and 7 million other people in the back and you don't talk to him for a year, right? Because he figures you out. Thanks for being a loyal friend. Got your name wrong. Your support has made it possible for me to serve as your lieutenant governor. Thank you for finally acknowledging, and I have to bear this cross every single day, but thank you for finally acknowledging you wouldn't be anything without me. You no good, rotten, you know what? As promised, I have been the conservative insurance policy for Indiana. What have you done? Conservative insurance policy on what? A property tax bill that everyone hates that's raising taxation for everybody? Conservative insurance policy on $1 billion tax increase last year? A conservative insurance policy on record utility bills? A conservative insurance policy on a proposal to raise tolls by $6.5 billion on I-70. By the way, somebody asked me this yesterday. And by the way, they said, what the hell is Braun doing with this road funding policy? On one hand, he's suspending the gas tax. Great, right? Because he's like, we've got extra money. Then he's also proposing $6.5 billion for new tolls on I-70. Wait, if we have extra money, why are we raising taxes by $6.5 billion? And then they raised the taxes on the tolls on I-80. Somebody said, what the hell is Braun doing? And I told this person, I said, are you insinuating he has no plan? He's just making it up as he goes along. I would love to ask Micah, what have you been the conservative insurance policy on? Because all we've gotten since you and your buddy Braun have been in there, higher taxes, bigger government, less accountable government. I mean, you guys can't even appoint somebody to the IURC that pans out. Despite the constant and vicious media attacks, I have stood firmly for our shared values. I don't know, man. Little problem at the church, and we're going to come back to that in a minute. Your shared values covering for your boss who hid that his son was a hyper-dangerous child predator from the church. Is that our conservative values, Micah? Because you're all in on Nathan Peter now remaining the head pastor at Life Church. Of course, Micah doesn't want to acknowledge how much money he and his family make off Life Church. Couldn't risk cutting off the gravy train. Are those our conservative values, Micah? Because our state needs leaders who will have energy, determination, and courage to fight the Democrat socialists and the woke agenda that threatens our way of life, our Constitution, and the future for our children. Indiana's run by Republicans. It's all Republicans. All the statewide Republicans. 7 of the 9 congressional people, Republicans. The senators, Republicans. Super majorities in the House and Senate, Republican. Governor, Republican. Where are all of these Democrat socialists, Micah, who are taking over our state? Anything going on in Indiana that people don't like is the fault of you guys, the Republicans. We must remain vigilant in protecting our state and country that we love so dearly. Whether it is our liberal universities, school systems, woke library boards, or leftist legislators, I have said and done what needed to be done, no matter the cost. The Democrats don't control anything, Micah. Who are these people? The only people in charge of anything are you guys, your buddies, your friends, the Republicans. So if you're mad about the school system, blame you. Conservative insurance policy, right? For a conservative insurance policy, there's a whole lot of damage that appears to be being done here. Must not be great insurance with you, Micah. Liberal universities, why do you guys allow them to exist? School systems, why do you allow them to exist? Woke libraries, why do you allow them to exist? See, Micah's one of these guys who's great at identifying the problem. But solving the problem involves work. And of course, we know Micah, like most of his Republican colleagues, they avoid work like the plague. See, if you solve the problem, then you can't fundraise off the problem. So we don't actually have an interest in solving the problem because then they can't send letters like this to me where he gets my name wrong. Your party is in charge of everything. And this letter is just one sentence after another bitching about the condition of everything, of which you're supposed to be the conservative insurance policy on. Our tax dollars should not be used funding leftist propaganda at our universities. Our state should not be requiring DEI. Then stop it. You're in charge of everything. Nothing happens without the consent of the Republican Party in the state of Indiana. The DEI, the schools, the libraries, the taxes, all of it happens because your party, in which you're the number 2 guy in the state, consents. Goes on to say your strong financial support of $250, $100, $50, or $35 will make a loud statement that you want a lieutenant governor who will say it like it is and stand up for our values no matter what. Now, you know what I want? You know what the values I want for my lieutenant governor? Doesn't stand behind his guy when he covers up that his son is a hyper dangerous child predator and hides it from the church and lets him in a building where little kids are there. You know the values I want for my lieutenant governor? Doesn't delete old podcasts where he talks about stuff that make him look really bad. You know what the values I want from my lieutenant governor? A guy who doesn't campaign on dismantling the IEDC, then come out in support of the IEDC. The values I want for my lieutenant governor is some guy who doesn't do a victory lap when the state says they're going to take $1 billion or more in taxes from poor and middle class people and give it to the Chicago Bears. That's the sort of values I want from my conservative lieutenant governor. As your conservative voice, you can always count on me to stand up for our shared principles and protect our cherished values, including government growth is dangerous. It limits our freedoms with the heavy burden of taxes. Well, you've supported $1 billion of new taxes or more, and we all know it'll be more, from the Bears Stadium. You said nothing last year while the legislature raised taxes by $1 billion. You've stood completely silent as Braun has proposed $6.5 billion in taxes on I-70. Well, you ran in the corner and cried like a scared little child on property taxes because, well, as you later admitted to me, you don't actually know anything about property taxes. And then you didn't want to piss your adult supervision, your daddy Braun, off, so you didn't want to come out against the bill. Then everyone was outraged that after you running on property taxes for a year and a half, you didn't have the stones to stand up when you were on Hammer and Nigel and say it's wrong. So then you had to keep calling me over and over and over again. You were like Glenn Close. I will not be ignored, Rob. And then, of course, you finally admitted to me, I don't know about property taxes. And so then you came out against the bill like 6 days after Braun said he's going to sign the bill. Too late then. Life is a precious gift and it must be protected. That includes the unborn. The Constitution is immutable. And of course, that includes the Second Amendment. We have constitutional carry in this state. Constitutional carry. What are we worried about with the Second Amendment in the state of Indiana? And what are you going to do about it? Our schools are for education, not indoctrinating. We are the capitalist society, never socialist. Your party has been in charge of public education in this state for 20 years. And all I ever hear about is bitching and bitching and bitching about the public education system. Why don't you fix it, Micah? The battles ahead will not get easier. The radical left is organized, well-funded, and determined to reshape our state and our nation. We cannot afford to be complacent or silent. We must meet their determination with even greater resolve. Where are they? I get that there's a handful of lunatics that like gather in fissures, but where are they in the government? Again, super majorities, House and Senate. 7 of the 9 congressmen, Republicans. Both senators, Republican. All statewide office holders, Republican. Where are these radical leftists that are taking over? So he closes with, because it's Beckwith, so there's always some grift to everything. There's always some plea to better himself at your expense. P.S. The attacks against me are constant because I refuse to compromise my conservative principles. With your immediate donation of $250, $100, $50, or whatever you can afford, which is less and less for everyone every day, thanks to Republican leadership, you'll help me ensure that I have the resources to keep fighting for the values that make Indiana the best place in America to live, work, and raise a family. Now, my question to this would be, you're already the lieutenant governor. What do you need somebody else's money for to continue to do your job? Why is it that you have to get a donation to continue to do your job? You make, what's he make, $200,000 a year as lieutenant governor? He's got a sweet gig there at Life Church, and Brother 1, and Brother 2, and you got the coffee shop. How much money do you need, bro? But here's the offer I'm willing to make to Micah. And I wrote this in a letter because they gave me this little return envelope. Now, it's going to cost me 82 cents to mail this back to him. How cheap is that? Not even, I got to pay the postage. I got to pay the postage to give you money. But I'll pay the 82 cents because it'll be worth it. And the offer I'm going to make to Micah is this. And this is what I wrote to him. Micah, I received your letter begging for money. While I would never give you 1 penny, even if the end result was getting waterboarded at a secret government prison, I will donate $35 to the child abuse/exploitation charity of your choice. If, and this is what I want to ask you guys before I make the formal offer, because I don't want to give him the publicity that he craves. Now, I will make a $35, would never, of course, give him money, but I would make a $35 donation to the child abuse/exploitation charity of his choice in the name of Jonathan Peternell and Nathan Peternell for the abuse that Jonathan Peternell committed against children, and Nathan who covered it up and let Jonathan around small children in the same building as small children, including my own. I would make that donation, and he could choose the charity. I thought about kind of to make him come in and do an interview so we can have the conversation. But then I thought, do I really want to give him the publicity because that's what he craves? Do I really want to give him the platform? Because he doesn't have anything to offer. He's not going to tell the truth. He's not going to be honest about any of this. So what's the point? What do you guys think? Should we give him a platform? Should we give him an opportunity to lie to you guys? What would you guys like me to do? Let me know. YouTube chat coming up in a little bit. Best comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Jason will read those comments coming up here in just a little bit. So that was it. That's the letter that I got. I'm going to send this back to him in a little bit, maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. I got to get to the post office. That's the letter I got from Micah Beckwith to Bob. He couldn't thank me enough for being a loyal friend. What do you guys think? All right. We'll take Nikki Kelly's going to join us. Coming up next, we are going to get into the Andy Zay stuff, fired from the IURC. We're getting into Braun and the gas tax suspension. We'll get into that. A lot to get to. Nikki Kelly, one of the best in the business. And Hour 3 brought to you by John Rust. All of it coming up next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indeed Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. It is the Rob Kendall Show. There she is, fan favorite, one of the best in the business, the great Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Well, you're very nice. I use the term brazenly breaking the law to describe what the governor is doing with the gas tax, but you're the voice of reason. What say you?
It's honestly hard for me to argue with that. Look, I personally haven't thought we met the original definition for an energy emergency the entire time, but no one seemed to care. And then he renewed it 3 times, even though technically the law says you can only do one and renew it once. And so now we've created a new emergency out of thin air involving a 4-year-old war, which I think is very, very, very close to breaking the law, but definitely breaking the spirit of the law. And so, it was interesting to watch everyone be okay with it yesterday. And just personally, and I might write about this next week, but it's a slippery slope to, ignore a law because you like the result. And that's, a precedent that they need to be careful of. And I honestly do think if Democrats did this, oh my God, no one would be okay with it.
Well, you're 100% right. And this is the thing I said today is he's daring the Democrats to sue him because then he wants to say, well, your gas prices went up because of the Democrats. And that's what I'm disappointed in. Everyone's just ignoring the law because, well, you like the result. Well, you didn't like it during COVID, and it's the same thing all over again, it seems like.
Yeah, and the law he's using to create this new 120-day span. And again, not to get too in the weeds, but there are two parts of that law. One says you can do it for 60 days and then renew it once for another 60 days. Well, they keep taking the 120 total and instead they're renewing it multiple times to get to the 120. And I'm not sure that's legal because it says you can do it once and renew once and they've done that multiple times. Back after COVID when they changed the governor's powers with disaster declarations, which is technically what the COVID public health emergency was, they even put in specifically language that said you can't call a new public health emergency, so like they thought about it then, but this law is way back in like 89 and honestly has never really been tested. Only one Democrat governor before this had done it. Several Republicans after that, Republican governors said no, including Mitch Daniels, who said it wasn't even legal. And so, that's where we are.
Why doesn't he? Because he claimed yesterday, oh, Rokita said it's great. The House signed off on it. The Senate signed off on it. Why doesn't he just call the special session then and get it permanently in? It seems like he's describing a situation that may not be there, yet nobody seems to be objecting.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get what he wants without calling an unpopular, expensive special session, why not, right? I'm sure that's what he's thinking. In terms of, and he was asked about, what if someone sued? And basically, I mean, he kind of said, well, I don't know why they would because the result is all this savings. Legally, you have to have standing to sue, which is not as easy as people think. I would think cities, counties, towns who would, get funding from that tax might have standing, but again, that would be an unpopular thing to get behind. I would think lawmakers might have standing because of the separation of powers issue and whether, he's gone beyond the executive authority whether we're in the part that should be legislative at this point.
Yeah, this is what they ran into with COVID too. Like I looked into suing Holcomb during COVID, and multiple attorneys looked at it and said, you can't because you still go to work every day. Like you don't have a case because my profession was not shut down. It's sort of the same thing here. I'd sue him for fun, but what is my standing? You can't say me saving gas isn't standing, is it?
Yeah, legally, standing is a lot more than just I'm a citizen and don't think this follows the law. You have to really prove harm and a direct harm. And so it's pretty limited, I think, who could actually sue.
Are you surprised that there's just no anything, like nothing? I mean, the leadership, everybody, nobody was. I mean, he said it so many times that he couldn't do it. And then to go, hey, Ukraine. Well, you guys, they didn't. This is the thing, Nikki. They didn't suspend the gas tax when Ukraine was actually affecting gas prices. And because they wanted people to hate Biden. And it's like 4.5 years later, now Ukraine's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely some are saying sneaky or crafty. You know, they came up with a justification, and unless it's challenged, it looks like it'll go through.
Is this you mad? I've never seen you mad.
I'm not mad. Like I said, I worry. I actually, these people, the governor, lawmakers, take an oath to follow the Indiana law, and we talk a lot about rule of law, and I'm worried about the precedent that this kind of thing sets.
Yeah, I agree. All right. The next thing fascinates me. It's the Andy Zay stuff. And they fired him from the IURC for cause. You guys had a big article on it. They listed all of these things he supposedly did. And I'm sitting there going, Andy Zay was in the Senate for 10 years. He knows how all of this works. I cannot imagine he made all of these mistakes. What are you hearing?
Ooh, we're hearing so much, and we're trying obviously to confirm a lot. So we're still working behind. It seems very clear that the governor wasn't ready for the AES rehearing to be on the agenda. And the minute it was put on the agenda by Senator Zay, well, sorry, not Senator Zay anymore, bad habits. Within a few hours, he was fired. So, and then it was immediately taken off the agenda. So
Was
that's
that because
one.
the swinger guy? Not that's a horrible thing to say. His last name is Swinger. I want to be clear. It's not a description. He can't hear the case, so that's why because normally the chair would put that like on an agenda. Is that why that Zay was involved with that?
Yeah, that definitely complicates it. Because when we talked to Anthony Swinger yesterday, he said, I'm walled off from this because I'm recused from the case because he worked on the case from the side of the Office of Utility Consumer Counselor. So the question is, if he's walled off, then who else could put it on the agenda? And so that complicates that question. At the same time of Anthony Swinger saying, well, I'm walled off, he also pulled it off the agenda, saying there was no consensus. So clearly he was part of some discussions on it.
That's what I couldn't figure out because I read the article and I was like, look, I get that I'm into government speak, but there seem to be like some contradictions here on what's actually going on. Now, Braun was on Hammer and Nigel yesterday and they asked him about Zay. And he launched into this thing about affordability and Zay not listening and Zay not following through. And he basically made it sound like he fired Zay because of that. And if I'm Andy Zay, I'm sending that in a vault to my attorney saying, evidence 1A through Z, my friend. That seems to be direct contrast to what the state of Indiana said. What are you hearing?
Yeah, he's definitely pushing the vote on AES and saying that's not the way he wanted to go on affordability. And that is a problem for what is supposed to be an independent agency. Yes, the governor appoints them, but they're appointed for a term. And so to fire someone, you have to have a reason. And what cause means is some sort of misconduct. And just not voting the way you want is not legally misconduct. So it seems like state personnel had some other items that they released. I do want to note that even in the state personnel items that were released, it says potential violations. So it doesn't even appear that they've finished a full investigation to know if he actually did violate those things.
Well, yeah, because look, I'm not an attorney nor a lawyer nor a prosecutor, but they essentially, from reading the very high level stuff they put out, insinuated stuff that could constitute a crime of some sort. And if I'm Andy Zay, you fired me and I don't think I should have been fired. You've split the stuff out there. If I didn't do it, I'm suing the heck out of everybody if this stuff isn't true. And Braun didn't help his cause yesterday, talking about everything but the stuff he was supposedly fired for.
Yeah, I don't know if any of the things they put out would be a crime, but they certainly said they were potential violations of state policy, or regulations or rules. I've heard that Andy Zay is talking to a lawyer. I mean, he'd be dumb not to, right? If anything, to make sure he, gets unemployment out of it. So we'll see.
You and I've talked about this before, and you know this, unlike you and Jim Merritt, you're my go-to Indiana code IURC regulation specialist. Braun keeps like demanding the IURC do this, and they're just following statutes that he and his buddies in the General Assembly have in place. Like, if you want this fixed, fix it yourself, and then they'll follow that law. It just seems very disingenuous to me that he's putting all this on the IURC.
He's definitely trying to do that because that's the place he can currently control, right? Or he thinks he can currently control. The other stuff is legislative, and they would have to make changes in statute. So that takes more time than changing the people on the IURC.
All right, let's talk about a 3-part series you guys have out over at IndianaCapitalChronicle.com on Medicaid. It's very interesting. They're long reads, but it's good stuff. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we wanted to look into, every time we looked at it, Indiana was, either the top 2 or 3 states in terms of enrollment decline on Medicaid. So we wanted to understand more intently, why are people dropping off the rolls? And what we found in looking at the data is, actually, when you look at the cases, 44% are being renewed. So they're eligible and they're staying on. 33% are being kicked off for non-compliance. That's a key category. That basically means, I don't know, they didn't verify their address or return a form, or, it's more paperwork. And then only like 8% are getting kicked off because they're actually ineligible, like they make too much money kind of thing. And so that's a huge difference to 3 to 1 be kicking people off because of bureaucracy or paperwork. And the interesting secondary part of that is they're then getting their benefits reinstated within a week's or a month. And so that's in the administrative world, it's called churn, and that all takes money, right? We're spending money on people and staff to do all this. We're forcing people who are eligible to do additional checks and additional eligibility and renewal requirements. And yeah, it does kick people off, but they're usually coming back.
So the Mitch Rubro Rob came out yesterday and did
Robe.
yes, Mitch Rubro Rob. Yeah, Mitch Robe came. I got all three of them in there because I've called him all three over the years. Yeah, him and Eric Cook. And I remember asking Jim Merritt the first time, "What's this guy's name? Is it Koch or Coke?" He goes, "It's Cook." I said, "No way." He goes, "I've known the guy for like decades. It's Cook." Mitch Robe. You just hit all three, Nikki. You never are wrong.
Yeah.
Mitch Robe, who's the FSSA guru, boss, head honcho, whatever you want to call him. You guys had a big article about this. He comes out the other day bragging about all the money they've turned back in and the decline in participation rates. Is that just like a glorified floor show that's not going to hold up? What's the deal?
I mean, we'll wait to see. Look, some of those savings are from people being kicked off Medicaid because they're ineligible, or, but I think a lot more of the savings are different oversight. They put on a couple key areas of spending: the autism therapy section, the attendant care programs. Those two programs had gotten massively large, and they've definitely kind of clamped down on those. So that's definitely part of those savings, and those would continue on.
The attendant care stuff is stuff we hear a lot about because there are a lot of people, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, who gave up their lives to watch their loved ones, but they say, I can't do this for what they're paying now that they've cut this back. Is there any appetite? Because it seems like they're done with it. They're like, it's over, even though the public is pretty outraged. Is there any appetite to visit that again?
I mean, they're still doing it. It's now has a different phrase and it has strong limits. I think they still have to continue doing it somewhat, because the fact is if all these people go into nursing home care instead, or another facility, a 24-hour facility, that's way more expensive to the state than paying people to care for them in their home.
Great. It's a 3-part series on Medicaid. It's really well done. It's a long read, so wait until afternoon to read it, but go read it. IndianaCapitalChronicle.com. The great Nikki Kelly, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
In Congress, I get all sorts of insider stock tips. Sure, I cashed in. It's my Beltway bonus. But now here comes Senator Todd Young with his total ban on congressional stock trades.
Freaking Mr. Clean Marine. Todd Young's got real guts taking us on. Young's gonna cost me millions.
Had enough of this? Contact Senator Todd Young to say thanks and let him know that you stand with his plan to ban stock trading for all members of Congress.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Indiana news, politics, and government you won't get anywhere else. Hour 3 is upon us. Of course, Hour 3 brought to you by the great John Rust. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you RSVP for the big event at John Rust Palatial Seymour Estate on Saturday, October the 3rd. Noon is the start time. It's totally free to attend. It's a celebration chance for us to say thank you to you, the fabulous viewers, the fabulous listeners of the Rob Kendall Show. We're going to have patriotic music, antique car show, probably the best part, lunch catered by Double D's Barbecue. I'm going to give a little speech about how great the country is. Jason's birthday, so there'll be birthday cake. And by the way, Seymour, Oktoberfest going on in Seymour, I believe that same day. So you can head over there when you're done. Just come hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. All you got to do is RSVP. There's no cost to attend. Just tell John you're coming, your name, how many people you bringing with you. rustforamerica@gmail.com. That's the email address, rustforamerica@gmail.com. And you can come hang out with us Saturday, October the 3rd. Don't forget, if you guys haven't done so yet, help us out. Hit that little thumbs up button. Like the feed. That really helps us grow the Rob Kendall Show, whether you're watching us live, you're watching us on demand. Just that little thing really helps us grow here on the Rob Kendall Show. Speaking of Double D's Barbecue, it's Friday. That means Mississippi farm-raised catfish is their special today and tomorrow. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. You guys know they take the barbecue very serious. They're not screwing around. Winner best ribs, best sauce, Rib Fest, Hendricks County. Ribs, brisket, and more. They do it all. Authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. Like I said, if you're looking for a special, the special tonight and the special tomorrow is the Mississippi farm-raised catfish. Get a great meal, great atmosphere. Great, you could, I think a couple of you guys have done this before. You make a day of it. You get on 40. You go out there, right there to Clayton, boom, Double D's for lunch, make a day of it, maybe head over to Terre Haute, and then on 40, right there, bam, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage for dinner. You can do it all. Great sponsors, great friends, great supporters of the Rob Kendall Show, Double D's Southern Barbecue in Clayton. Ribs, brisket, and more. See it all. Full website, ddbbq317.com. ddbbq317.com. We're going to have a little bit of an extended best comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Jason's going to join us in just a few moments for that. Before we do that, though, I want to again thank you guys. You guys have been absolutely amazing helping us grow this program. And there's a lot of great stuff in the works, a lot of great stuff we're working on. We're hoping here in the next couple of weeks we're going to be able to announce all that stuff to you. You guys have been absolutely amazing. We couldn't do it without you. So from the very, very bottom of our heart, from the beginning, we took a flyer on this. We believed in you guys, believed in ourselves, and it's all going exactly as we thought. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you guys for believing in us, for being with us each day, whether you watch us live or on demand, whether you listen to us on demand, whatever it is. We can't thank you guys enough. The Rob Kendall Show, it is because of you guys that we've had this incredible growth, being able to do the Indiana news, the politics, the government, you're not going to find anywhere else. So I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart as we head into the weekend for you guys being an absolutely amazing audience. Now, a lot of chatting today. Lotto chatters. And so Jason and I made an executive decision in the break. Going to forego a couple of other topics because it's Friday. We want to have some fun. Make you guys the star. Best comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Hour 3 brought to you by John Rust. And it's pretty simple. Be a part of the YouTube chat. All you got to do, subscribe to the channel, and then bam, you can be in there with hundreds of other Rob Kendall Show viewers, listeners, and if you do a good job, you do a great job, you do great comments, Jason's monitoring all throughout the show, into the show, he reads the best comments, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
Man, I'm getting so much airtime, Bob. I really appreciate
Nothing says
that.
thanks for being my good friend like getting my name wrong.
Bob. That's one you've never gone by, is it? Bobby?
Never. Nothing.
All right.
Not even anywhere close to that.
All right. Well, Bob, if your water heater, water softener, well pump ever goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with the American Heroes discount. Owner John McKinney, he's a Hoosier lifer, takes great pride, stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee. Water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Hope I don't need that guarantee. He's coming out.
Coming to your house, isn't he?
Coming out to check out my water heater today. It's smelling kind of like a burning smell. And that's probably not good.
Burning smells bad.
Yeah, probably not good. So he's going to come out and check it out for me. 765-315-7558. Don't call him and bother him while he's at my house, but any other time you can give him a shout. 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
All right, I did want to say one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tentatively, and I don't know what time yet, but I'll tell everybody if I'm able to do this. I think I'm going to be able to. I think I'm going to get out to Double D's next week.
Oh.
Maybe on Wednesday.
Oh, next Wednesday.
But I'll let everybody know for sure. Our boy, Anthony Gary, and I are going to go out there, and we think Wednesday might be the day. So I'll let everybody know for sure. If you guys want to come, hang out, I'll know by Monday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just want to make sure I put that out there.
Excellent.
Not that like you would want to drive across the globe to meet me, but Double D's is awesome. So
you could see Rob eat his meat at Double D. Sorry. Friday. All right, let me get to it. I was this was really quick today. I'm like you gave me all kinds of time today. This is awesome, and we'll put it to good use because we got a lot of good stuff today.
That's what I thought. There's so many chats today, and we had a bunch of topics and things people were fired up about. It's Friday. Let's have some fun.
All right. So, by the way, the chat tonight will begin 6:00. Rob's going to get me a title for Monday.
I am?
It can be a temporary title. And, we got to get that chat rolling. We had like 1,800 comments in the it was 3,800. What am I thinking? 3,800 comments over last weekend.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. You'll never find another local show. I don't even know how many national shows get 3,800 comments.
Engaged.
From Friday until the end of the show on Monday.
A lot of engagement.
That's crazy. Normally on an average day, I think yesterday we had yesterday's we had the 1,800.
Oh.
So it's crazy because we opened it up the night before. We let it roll all night long. People can 3:00 in the morning. They're in there chatting away. It's a chat fest. All right. So this morning at 6:30 was MLM Warriors. I think was he the first one in? Might have been Rusted Bolt Garage. Could have been MLM Warriors. Good morning. Today is International Beer Day.
Oh, how exciting.
There we go. Yeah, okay, some other people will be happy about that. Chris Chafin, good morning. Kendall Crazies. Buck 0707. It's our wedding anniversary today.
Happy anniversary.
56 years.
Whoa!
With the same person. That's awesome.
You got married when you were 10. That's awesome.
That is fantastic.
I don't think they allow that anymore. That's amazing.
Right. I think the 07, they got married when they were 7 years old, so that would make them, there we go. Congratulations.
56.
Congratulations, Bucko. Yeah, 56 years.
So my grandparents made it 70.
Oh, is that right?
70 years.
I would, tomorrow would have been my wedding anniversary had I not still been married.
Yeah.
Would have been, would have been over 30. I mean, 35, something like that. I don't know. Long time. I got married when I was like 12. So it's Indiana. You can do that. Steve Green with an E. Here comes the Friday heater. Bring it, Rob. I think you did today. Today was a pretty good show. You brought a lot of heat today. Let's see. Debbie Holcomb, does anyone else have 3 alarms set for 9 a.m.?
3 alarms? I have 3 alarms set for around 5 a.m.
I only have 1, and I wake up always before it.
Really?
I wake up and have to turn the alarm off so it doesn't wake everybody else up. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't like it. I don't like getting up that early. Maybe we'll change that here pretty soon. Might be setting those alarms for a little later in the day. Old Man 68, wow, a teal shirt is messing with the camera today. Yes,
is it?
It's the stripes. It does mess with the camera, but that's I mean, there you go. Rob's can't wear the same 4 shirts every day. So
I got all those other nice shirts. I got to wear them every so often.
Rob a little
we'll be back to the
latitude.
pastels on Monday.
There we go, Pastel Monday. The Old Man 68 always look forward to hearing Nikki Kelly. Yes,
yeah,
Nikki
she's
Kelly,
the best.
So Never disappoints, never disappoints. And then the old man, I think the shirt is checked. I think the camera needs sunglasses so it can focus. Yeah. And what do we got here? That MLM Warriors, that would be interesting to have sunglasses for a camera. Actually, they do have sunglasses for a camera. It's called an ND filter.
What?
A neutral density filter.
What?
So that you put it on there and it less light goes into the camera so that you can take long exposure photography while the sun may still be up. You get a blur,
kidding.
the water, how the water blurs.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, if it's sunny out, you have to have a neutral density filter.
No
on
kidding.
There. That's what they call it. See, we learn stuff. We're just here to educate.
Yeah.
T. Duncan, that would be Miss Tina.
Double D's.
Yep. Poor Rob. His shirt looks great.
Thank you.
Yes. Nobody was dogging the shirt. They just they were all upset that they didn't guess the right color because you've not worn the teal in a long time. You threw everybody off.
Yeah.
Steve Green with an E. And my best Samuel, what was his middle name?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson voice. Say affordability one more time. I don't do a very good Samuel L. Jackson voice. The old man 68. Check out the big brain on Steve. Get what we're getting here? The old Pulp Fiction references there. All right.
Okay, what's your favorite Tarantino movie?
Man, I don't know. He's got a lot of good. He's probably, I would say my favorite movies are Tarantino movies.
Yeah.
I guess Pulp Fiction. I could sit and watch it dozens of times. I mean, I'm not a movie watcher where I sit and watch and watch and watch. Watched Napoleon Dynamite the other night again, though.
Do you
realize that was made by 3 college students? Napoleon Dynamite was one of the college students. That was not a production by a movie house or anything. Those guys went out, they raised like $20,000 on, what do you call that, Kickstarter or something like that, and donations. All the actors in the movie, none of them were regular actors except the one guy, Uncle
Rico.
Uncle Rico was an actual actor, but everybody else, they were all college students, and that's crazy. So I went back and watched that with that in mind. Great movie when you look at it from that perspective. I mean, just the
Napoleon Dynamite guy became famous.
Right, but he was a college student. He was not an actor. He had to pony up, like you and I pony up cash to do this, to get started. That's what they did.
Huh.
So it's pretty wild when you look at it from that point of view. Didn't mean to get off on that track, but
that does not strike me as a movie you would watch.
I like quirky movies like that. I don't like new stuff. I don't like action movies, and all the Marines and all that kind of stuff. Sorry, Todd, but just those type of things don't do it for me. It's just I don't know. Okay, moving on. Continuing on. There we go. Okay, Rusted Bolt Garage. Get him a Hawaiian shirt. That's not Rob.
No.
Okay, Josh Bain. James McCartney says, Josh Bain is just a terrible person and a liar. He does not care about people.
Well, okay.
Was he were you talking about Josh Bain?
Yeah, he got appointed to the IURC.
There we go. That's okay. I knew there
He's
was
the new IURC. He's been on our show several times. He doesn't seem like a horrible person.
Yeah, well.
Might dislike his politics, but doesn't seem like a horrible person.
James McCartney has a bone to pick.
Well, McCartney.
Mr. Bain.
Yes, he's not happy with Josh Bain.
All right, MLM Warriors. I like cheaper gas. Did Braun break the law?
Well, if he tells you I can't do something, and then all of a sudden he's like, we found this magical new way I could do it. What was it? Well, it's a 4.5-year-old war. Really?
The 06010 board. At this rate, I may be next. I may be in the next round of utility board nominations.
Could be. Yeah, he's running out of people.
They're running. There's only 7 million. How many people in Indiana?
7 million.
7 million. So you got to pick one of them, Braun. One of them's got to stick. All right. Oh, the old man 68. Wait until Braun creates some bogus council to implement the Mid-States Corridor and then appoints his millionaire buddies from DuBois County to be on it.
Well, I think that's sort of what they're kind of trying to do, right? With all these authorities and this group and that group. We're not going to let it happen.
Okay, now.
We're dedicated to the people of Southwest Indiana.
You were talking about the lawmaker that is accusing the other lawmaker of sex trafficking.
Fishback James Fishback is running for governor, Republican in Florida. He's running against Byron Donalds, a congressman, Republican. They're running a Republican primary. And then Fishback came out and said he's got a whistleblower who told him that that Donalds and Mills, Corey Mills, I think was the guy's name, congressman from Florida, are both under this federal investigation for human sex trafficking. He gave the specific dates, the specific location, and that these guys are going down.
What do you think of when you hear the term sex trafficking?
Well, I would tend to think of it as like taking people against their will.
Right.
Like, across, it doesn't even have to be across state lines, but taking them to someone
Selling
else.
them to somebody.
Sexual act. And I know that's not always the
will.
case. I think they're referencing prostitution, which was the Hunter Biden thing. Because I think if you take them across state lines, that's when it's what P. Diddy ran into. I think if you take them across state lines, that's when it becomes, or someone travels across state lines, then it becomes sex trafficking.
Well, again, if it's against their will, that's one thing. If it's not against their will, I honestly I don't think it would be a big deal, honestly. I mean, prostitution is illegal, but it's a big difference between selling a child into, sex slave labor versus paying a 21-year-old or 25-year-old willing girl, to have relations.
Yeah. No, I think about that, like, again, and there are...
And I saw a lot of that.
Well, I was going to ask you about that in a second. I mean, so here's where I'm at, and then I want to go to you because you saw some of this.
I didn't do it. I saw it.
You saw some things.
Yes.
The freedom and liberty side of me says if everybody's consenting and everybody goes willingly, what do I care? It doesn't harm me, right? What you spend your money on and what somebody takes your money for, what do I care? But then there's like a societal aspect of it. Like, I don't want people walking on the street doing it. Like it's like weed. I don't care if you smoke. I don't want to smell it. Like, I don't want to be
so
around
it. So brothel is okay with you?
Well, I think
if it's off the street,
I would, as long as everybody's consenting. Somebody doesn't feel forced. Somebody doesn't feel like they have to do it. Somebody's not controlling them to do it. Like, there's a lot of people who just like doing it, right? So who am I to
Might
say
as well
no?
get paid for it, right? Like a bodybuilder who makes money as a weightlifter or a bodybuilder or whatever they do. I mean, they make money off their body, right?
Yeah, right.
So football players make money off of, they can't look like me. They've got to build up their body, and they make money off that I couldn't make. So.
Now, but I also recognize the other side of it, which is there is a network of people who are moved against their will.
Sure. And
that has to be stopped.
Right. But take sex out of it. I mean, if you're just forced to go to work at if you're brought over from another country and you're forced to work at Subway, which okay, no, we're not picking on Subway, but if you're forced to work there from open to close and all your money goes to the person who quote unquote sponsored you, which is slavery or whatever, that's just as bad. But it just doesn't involve sex. But you put the sex in there, and that's more tittillating.
Yeah, I think the liberty side of me says, well, I'm not engaging in it. I got the OCD, so that would never work for me. But
and a wife. So
well, I'm saying at any point in my existence, obviously now there's other things at play. But I'm saying like that would just never, because like even when I would go see you in the club, like your friends would come up and talk to me, like it wasn't. I don't know if anybody wants to go. Great, you do whatever you want to do. It doesn't harm me, but I was just like not my
right. Well, and I thwarted a lot of it because girls would willingly try to get guys to after work.
Oh, really?
Go home with them and things like that, and they or go to the hotel and things. And
that's the thing.
So I would implement laws or rules like you can't leave with customers, which should be a basic thing or whatever. But a lot of girls are the most intelligent. They're way smarter than guys. I mean, when it comes to ripping people off, and
really
things like that. Yeah, they'll sit there and they'll work a guy and they'll be like, well, $500 or whatever it'd be, and then we can hook up after the but you got to pay me now, because other people want to pay me, so you got to pay me now to get on the list. Make
it's like a deposit,
and then you make it, and then after you wait for me in the parking lot. And so then I would be like, okay, bars closed, everybody leave, girls go in the back, this and that. Before I let the girls leave, I make them all get dressed, sit and wait and not leave. Then I'd have the bouncer go out the parking lot, make everybody leave. And you'd always get a dude sitting out there like, while I'm waiting for, Letitia. It's like, well, Letitia's not, who's Letitia to you? Like, well, my friend. Well, no, she's not going home with you. It's illegal. You got to get out of the parking lot. And like, well, I gave her $500 to give her a ride home, and it's like, well, you realize that's prostitution. There's a cop sitting right over there. Why don't you have the conversation with him? And of course they would leave. And well, I want my $500 back. So I would also end up firing those girls because, I can get taken to jail for that sort of, I could have, no, I don't, obviously it's been several years.
Were you ever worried one of these dudes was going to throw down on you, like pull a gun on you?
Oh, it could have happened, but in the heat of the moment, you just do what you do.
You weren't making enough to deal with that, though.
Not really, but I still dealt with it, and I never got shot. So
and now
never got stabbed.
You deal with me.
And but there was usually I tried to always make sure there was a cop in the parking lot, and a lot of cops enjoy that kind of work.
So the club would hire a cop?
Yeah, I would say, you're going to have to hire a cop in the parking lot so that I don't have to get dirty.
Right,
so,
okay.
All right, so we'll continue on.
Interesting.
Whatever. Sorry, it's a Friday. All right, Spray Jockey, what did I miss? Well, you missed a lot. Okay. Let's see. Continuing on, Bernie Sanders.
Yes, Bernie Sanders.
Andy Engel, does anyone actually take Bernie Sanders seriously? MLM Warriors, I do not watch Bernie that often. When I think of Bernie, I think of him with his mittens on. Yep, that photo with
at the inauguration, or
he's got his mittens and he's sitting there.
Yeah, that's right. It was at the inauguration.
Oh, was it at the inauguration?
Biden's inauguration. Yeah,
the old man 68. The oligarchy. 06010 board. Billionaires. Used to be millionaires, but
used to be millionaires.
But so now it's the billionaires.
He became a millionaire, and then it was the billionaires.
I don't think he's going to hit $1 billion.
No.
Ethan Hatcher, Hassan Piker is the guy who shocked his dog on live stream.
That sounds morbid.
That's he said he was. Let's see. Do you know who he's talking about?
Hassan Piker, the influencer. We played an audio clip of him earlier screaming about prisons and how mad he was about prisons.
Right. And Ethan explains. He has a fluffy little dog he uses as a prop who has to sit on his little 2x2 mat in the background of his camera. He tried to move. The dog tried to move, and Piker totally shocked her and got caught. Like the little shock collar.
Oh, jeez.
So I didn't see that, but that's Ethan's. That's allegedly, according to Ethan.
If that's true, that's horrible.
There's a problem. Send your email to Ethan and the radio station over there, not us. Josh Richardson. Manning is back. Yeah, we switched it up just to see if anybody would notice, and Josh Richardson did notice. MLM Warriors also noticed. Mike Pagel is there. No, it's not Mike Pagel.
Hey, real quick before you keep going, it'd be a good time for me to tell everybody that Anthony Gary, our guy, he said he's coming in Monday, so it'll air Tuesday. He's going to tell us about the rentals. He owns Indy Dwell Real Estate, and he doesn't just show houses. He finds you homes with everything you're looking for, explains your options, and gets you an offer accepted without you losing sleep or sanity. I have none of that anymore, sleep or sanity, so that'd be perfect for me. Anthony's an expert negotiator, ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put Anthony's expert buying strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159, 317-756-1159. He was picking apart Zillow earlier on his Facebook feed. Anthony's a hilarious guy. Put him to work for you. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159.
The old man 68. And by the way, Mad Duck. The only Tarantino movie I've ever seen was From Dusk Till Dawn. Ooh, that's a good one. That's the vampire one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one, too. He's got all his movies are great. C. Mills, Napoleon Dynamite is one of the best films ever. Again, when you watch it from the perspective that it was made by a bunch of college students or film students with no major budget, that was really cool. If you go back and look at it from that perspective. The old man 68, I believe the reason most of us listen to Rob is because we all share the same traits. I expect the same from others that I expect from myself. Rob is right and wrong. Right is right. Sorry. Right is right and wrong is wrong with very little gray. There we go. Let's see. Speaking of, now we're on Daniel Poynter.
Daniel Poynter. Yes. Save Heritage, Indiana.
Andy Engel. Oh, this guy's wearing a suit. Steve Green with an E. I already like this cat because he showed up looking professional. First impressions. Witty reviews. Daniel W.
That's Witty's thing when you do a good job. He says you got a W. The win.
The win. There we go. Okay. I'm not hip enough to understand the witty stuff. Okay. Christian Macer. I've been in several meetings with Daniel. He's not a crazy person. So
there's a
seal of approval from Christian.
You know what the most wild part of that interview was? He was like, I was a big leftist, and then they were too crazy for me, and I had to switch sides.
Yeah, I think I'm off center here on my camera. Hang on. Oh, wrong way. There we go. Nope, still right back where it was. One more time. There we go. It's a Friday. Okay, Jack the Libertarian. Pretty sure no one ever called them Nazis. I did not see anything online about that. Where you been, Jack?
All over the place. Yeah, lots of people calling them Nazis.
Do you see Rob's Facebook page ever? Boom, boom, boom. Rock Laws. Interesting points in the chat today. Well, that's why we're reading them. And very interesting, 75 minutes of the show. The first 75 minutes he's talking about. Very good job, Rob.
That's what we do.
Got out of the block strong on that one. Okay, let's, where are we at here? Okay, yeah, we're getting down there. Kevin Branham, the show is addictive. This show is addictive. Kevin Branham, he has so many good interviews. Andy Engel, Dear Bob. Josh Richardson, what about Bob? MLM Warriors, go Bob, go. MLM Warriors, Summer of Bob. 0601 board, totally a Bob. Wino Gina, are you changing the name to the Bob Kendall Show? 06010 board. Hey, Bob. MLM Warriors, TBKS, the Bob Kendall Show. MLM Warriors also, Evil Bob. Wino Gino, that reminds me, why don't we have Jim Merritt on anymore? I miss hearing him say, Robert.
He does. Statehouse Happenings every week. It's extended now, so we feel like that's all the merit.
And by the way, for those that may be just tuning in, we're talking about Rob's buddy Micah Beckwith sending him a personalized note calling him Bob.
Yes.
Really wasn't personalized.
No, it was just a form letter.
But
he did sign it.
Oh, he signed it.
Yeah.
With actual ink? Or
it's ink. It looks like a real signature.
All right.
I mean, but that's what I said. He just put his name, like his first name.
Oh, Micah, yeah.
Because, that's what I said. He's like Cher or Madonna or something.
Well, how many Micahs do you know?
Well, I don't know. I wish I didn't know that one.
How many real men do you know that was
and anyway, yeah, he addressed it to Bob while he was begging me for money. So nothing says give me money like getting your name wrong.
Right. Andy Engel, I feel bad for the members of Life Church who, through no fault of their own, have had to endure this whole paternal process.
Yeah. A lot of us left. A lot of people have left.
The old man 68 responds, I did when it first came out, but now that they know about it and continue to support the guy, they deserve what they get.
Yeah, I mean, he basically got no punishment. He's on the police body cam. They clearly tell him and his wife exactly what's going down and this kid's accused of. You can tell by the body language of the kid, he knows he's caught, right?
Right.
And then they just don't tell the church, and they let him mosey around the church, and it's just like how you could possibly ever, especially if you have kids, ever let your kid around those people again is beyond me. It's beyond me.
Yeah, people are strange. Andy Engel, I always thought Micah's segments on Rob's old station were pretty lame. He was a boring political hack, saying pretty much the same thing as everyone else. Josh Richardson, when you send the response, you have to sign it, Bob Kendall. You should also explain that, Rob, that what are you going to do?
Well, I was going to send him a letter back and tell him I will never give you any money. But I would, however, because $35 is what he asked for, I would, however, give $35 to the child abuse / exploitation charity of your choice in the name of Jonathan and Nathan Peternow, your boss, Nathan Peternow, who covered up his child predator son, who you're still standing, Mike is still standing behind Nathan. And, I thought about, well, it'd be contingent upon inviting him in as a guest because I got a bunch of things I want to ask him. But then I thought it's giving him the publicity he craves. He has no shame, so it's not like you're going to fix anything. So what would be the point of that? I'd be giving him what he wants. And then I thought maybe I would do the donation contingent upon him explaining publicly why he and Nathan deleted select episodes of their old Jesus, Sex, and Politics podcast and what was on those podcasts. Maybe I'd just tie it to that. But I said I'll open up to people to see what they want, if they wanted him to come on or not.
All right. Yeah, okay, sign it, Bob Kendall. Steve Green with an E. Do not entertain interviewing Micah. I'll tune out. Sorry, a bridge too far.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Can't lose the audience.
You can't lose
I lost a lot of audience for years having him and his wife on. I can't do it here.
That's right. I always told you about that one. That was a bad one.
Everybody told me about it.
TG Mod, bring him on. It's worth watching you make him look silly. He enjoys looking silly, though.
That's the point. There's no shame.
No, there is no shame. Yeah. You can't embarrass somebody if they have no shame. Josh Richardson, he will just lie to you and us. Waste of time. Steve Green with an E, never invite a vampire into your home.
That's true.
That's I've always adhered to that myself. Jan Hatch, no platform for him. It's like pissing in the wind. Just pray for him.
All right.
Okay. 0601 board. I think Jan Hatch is correct. He's already gets too much publicity. Move on, Bob.
I felt reading the letter was good though because the letter's so ridiculous. I feel like we had to first of all, I got the name wrong, which was hilarious. But the letter is so ridiculous. It's an insight to people into how these politicians work, right?
I mean, how'd they get Bob? It's like Robert Kendall. Okay. Obviously, you could go by Rob. You could, as you said, you could go by Bob. You go by Robbie. You could go by Robert. You could go by Bobby. Bobby with an I-E. Bobby with a Y. Robbie with an I-E. Robbie. And they just pick Bob.
Yeah. No spell check.
Right. Okay. Steve Green with an E. Nikki
Kelly.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And 0601 board adds that. Nikki Kelly could be a third shirt.
So it sounds like the audience did not want to do the interview.
No,
with Micah.
I would say I don't want Micah Beckwith in this studio. I don't want to have to. No,
look at him.
Nah. I mean, Todd Young. Okay, he's a senator. You know, if he wants to come in, you guys can go head to head. That's fine. People like that. But Micah Beckwith, his position is nothing. I mean, what he has no effect on the state other than just a black eye. So
well, that's what's interesting about him is when he sent out that letter, oh, I'm the conservative fighter. You need me in there as an insurance policy. But then when the people get mad about the stuff, him and his supporters are like, well, he doesn't have any power. What's he supposed to do? You guys got to pick a lane. Either you need me to give you money because you're a conservative insurance policy, or none of this is my fault because my job's irrelevant. You got to pick a lane.
Golf Tango X-Ray hadn't been in for a while. I never had use for Beckwith when he came on your old station. He always came across as a sleaze to me.
The ratings sank like a rock every time I had him on, and there were many discussions about that. And I thought, well, he's trying to do good for the people. I want to lift him up. And one of many, many mistakes that I made.
Spray jockey, he was also a major advertiser at the time. So there was...
Well, the church.
So
but I didn't have him on because of that. I had him on because he was, he's saying he wants to do good stuff.
Spray jockey, why did you call him Micah? Call him Mikey. Mikey
the way he got my name wrong?
Yeah, Mikey likes it, he says. And then Mad Duck, Mikey hates it. He hates everything. Christy Avery, love Nikki.
Nikki Kelly's great.
Yep,
she's the best.
Kelly.
Everybody likes Nikki. Notice nobody ever has anything bad to say about Nikki.
Right. Okay, a couple others here. I know we got to get out early. It is a Friday. We do need to cut out a bit early to do some administrative. Ooh, that's a big word. Administrative things we've got.
When's the last time you actually did anything administrative?
I administrate on a daily basis, Rob. Okay, 06010 board. Todd Young was a Marine and is clean squeaks. That means clean squeaks. Let's see, where else we got here? Eat, okay, here we go, 6010 board. Eat Double D's barbecue for lunch, Honey Hill for dinner, and sleep for another 48 hours.
Bango, that's your weekend. You go down today for lunch. You get on 40. You drive to Double D's. You have your lunch. Maybe you go all the way to Terre Haute. Maybe you go to Larry Bird Museum over there. You come back, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro for dinner. Bam, sleep the rest of the weekend. Problem solved.
Oops, sorry, moved my camera. Andy Engel, we need to have an impromptu Bob Kendall Show listener meetup at Double D's someday.
Well, I think I'm going on Wednesday, and I'll know for sure on Monday.
All right. I was thinking about going this weekend. I may pop in there. And I'm from the Bob Kendall Show.
Perfect. Love me.
Yes. Wino Gina. Hooray. Thanks, John Rust and Black Sheep Plumbing. MLM Warriors. Hi, Jason. Hey.
That's it?
That's all it's needed. Just a nice salutation there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's...
While you're perusing your notes there, let me tell you about our friends over at
you do that.
Bramwell Mackay. You guys got a leaky chimney or water in the basement? Cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay, they don't just offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists.
Debbie Holcomb, back to what Nikki said about those that are eligible for Medicaid being kicked off. Often it takes weeks to months to reinstate Medicaid waivers. What they aren't saying is that all services stop.
Yeah, so Nikki Kelly made an interesting point because Capital Chronicle did a big 3-part series on Medicaid. Go read it when we get done here today. It's very interesting. It's nuanced, right? But you guys are a smart audience. You can handle it. And basically what she was saying is because the state came out and said, look at all this money we're returning from Medicaid compared to the deficit that Holcomb had put us in.
Right.
And Nikki was saying, okay, well, we found that a lot of these people are getting kicked off because of an administrative paperwork error, not that they're actually ineligible or there's fraud or whatever. So they're getting put back on. The state's trying to get the headline, but the actual financial issue is not going to be solved because these people are going to get put back on with all the cost of re-adding them back to the Medicaid rolls.
Okay. MLM Warriors. The Warrior has returned without the Hulk. He might have kicked his butt. Yeah.
You did that deliberately.
I did that just to see if MLM Warriors would notice. And, well, yeah, he did. The old man talking to the 0601 board. There must have been a food challenge or an eating challenge. He said, I just gained 5 pounds thinking about accomplishing that eating challenge, which was, where was that at? That was, that was the eat Double D's barbecue for lunch, Honey Hill for dinner. And, yeah, he gained 5 pounds just thinking about that. Chris Gaskins. Hey, Bob, I think you ought to have Micah on your show and hash it out with him. I'd love to witness him sweating his makeup off and seeing his veneers chatter when he thinks of lies to spew. I know he's pretty good at it, though. I don't think he gets
No. He's a sociopath. He's a person. He don't think twice about it. He'll lie right to your face. He has no problem. That's the point. Like, that's why it's like, what would I accomplish by doing it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's going to lie. He's not going to tell the truth. He's going to deflect. It's never his fault. I do want to know how much he and his 2 goofy brothers are making at the Life Church. I am fascinated by that, and I want to know why it's acceptable for him to moonlight employment at the church. I am fascinated by that. And I also want to know how much his family has made, if any, off that coffee shop that they've changed the name of, because Life Church's name is Poison. So they changed the name of the coffee shop so people won't recognize it with the church.
Oh,
those are all things I want to know, but I never get a straight answer. So
right. Okay, Debbie Holcomb, and more of a series back to the Medicaid. There we go. Oops. So there we go. She says, services that would stop for Michael, her son, would include his formula and feeding supplies, his life-saving seizure meds, and ventilator. Also, all of his in-home nursing and attendant care. They're very expensive. Paying these services, even for a few weeks, would bankrupt us. Yes, he'd have to be admitted to ICU just to get the care he needs. This isn't a flippant issue. It costs life-saving and sustaining savings.
Well, that's my point. It's like you have people in the parents who are willing to do it. They've trained themselves how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than paying them relative to what they're doing, a nominal fee compared to what you have to pay a healthcare professional to come in and do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great deal. The goal appears to be to institutionalize all these people. And what sort of care are they going to get there? But I'm clearly missing something because I've been at this for 2 years now and nobody's been able to give me a straight answer, but they're much smarter than me. So clearly,
they're politicians, Rob. So there you go.
Seems like a bargain to me.
Right. Okay. The last one for the chat for today, and then we'll get to the points because I don't know if I gave the points yesterday. I might have been derelict in my duties on that. But Shrog Sandwich. Hi, everyone. Class wrapped. Came in just to say hi and give my like. I'll have to catch up later. She wasn't in the chat today, and many were missing you.
Who was that?
Shrog.
Oh,
Shrog.
Hi, Shrog.
Ms. Sandwich. All right. So the points today. Let's see what we get here. Yep. Okay. Almost 50 people in the chat today. And we start with where are we at here? Number 10 is, actually a bunch of people. Okay. Number 10. Actually, we'll go to number 12. Mad Duck and Sue Seifert both tied with 225 points. Number 10 was the old man with 275 points. The way you get these points is the more you participate in the chat, the more points you get. They're XP points. I don't know how it works. Not our doing. It's YouTube, but it's fun for everyone. All right. Again, number 9 was Spray Jockey with 275 points. Number 8 was Rock Laws with 300 points. Number 7, Driver, 350 points. Number 6, Steve Green with an E, 475. At 525, 675 points. Number 5, Chris Chafin, 650 points. Kevin Branham at number 4. At number 3, 675 points, Rusted Bolt Garage at 825 points. That's a big jump. Josh Richardson. And at 950 points. Didn't quite crack the 1,000-point mark, but that's okay. It's MLM Warriors. So the chat will be open this evening around 6 o'clock, I would assume. If you get in there, you can start chatting. You can start building up your points. You can take MLM Warriors off the top if you're really ambitious and dedicated over the weekend. But that opens up about 6 o'clock. Look for the Rob Kendall Show on YouTube. It'll say the live show for Monday. You can click it, and you can chat with all of our friends.
All right.
That about it?
That's going to do it for us today.
All right. I'll be seeing our buddy John McKinney from Black Sheep Plumbing here in about an hour or so. So need to get kicking.
All right. There we go.
So long, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Another amazing week. Thank you, guys. Like I said, we got some cool stuff we're optimistic we're going to be able to tell you about here in the near future. So just stay with us. We'll let you know as soon as we're able to announce whatever those things are. And we want to thank you guys for being the best audience in the whole world. We couldn't do it without you guys. Hope you guys have a super safe weekend. Take care of yourself. Take care of your friends. And we will look forward to seeing you back here on Monday, 9 until noon. Thank you to John Rust sponsoring our third hour. We couldn't do it without him. Thanks to Black Sheep Plumbing sponsoring the YouTube chat, and then always all of our sponsors. You got IndieDwell Realty, Real Estate. You've got Bramwell Mackay. You got Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage. You've got Double D's. You've got Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, and you got All American Dog Fence. Some phenomenal people that are making it possible for us to do the Rob Kendall Show. You guys have an awesome weekend. We will see you right back here Monday, 9 until noon. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching. You've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.